again. And then you throw Earl Campbell's name on top of this, the NFL legend. Nah, there's no pressure there. This is a 1940 F100. How's this thing ride? Like a buck horse? Looking at this frame, there's just no saving it. Just turned into a full frame makeover. Some things snowball. This is pretty much an avalanche. Check this thing out.
Ah, there we go.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, you pick up, you expect to go get a car, a whole car. As you can see, this definitely isn't the case. We have a body, frame, and parts. Crates and crates of parts. Apparently, whoever had this car last took it apart and didn't really know what to do, how to finish this. God, dog, there's some shit in here. You know, it's not like this project isn't out of our realm, but in a situation like this, you don't know what you got until you really start putting this thing together and seeing what you don't have. You know, a project this size is a lot of work, but no matter what we have to do, it's all going to be worth it, especially for the client we're building for here. Man, you told me you had a 1949 Cadillac. I got boxes of a 1949 Cadillac.
Well,
Earl Campbell was maybe one of the toughest players I've ever seen.
Born and played in Texas, around Houston, he's more than a Hall of Famer. He's a legend.
I tell you, Reno, I'm here because after I saw Slim Thug, that Cadillac you did, so I better get that 49 on over here. I like the color wheels, I like the stands, I like that air suspension on it. And when I get there, this is who can build my 49 Cadillac.
Hey, I was real good at putting those models together when I was a kid.
Yeah, so I think you can do it.
Yeah.
If you did that with Slim Thugs, I've seen that. You can kind of handle that.
We can take your 1949 and make this just as cool and custom. You know, we've been watching you for years and years, me and my dad. I mean, there's history there.
It's going to
be cool.
That's great. Thank you guys very much.
Heck yeah. You know, Earl really liked Slim's car, but at least it rolled in as a complete car. Now this, just parts, we definitely got our work cut out for it. How crazy can we get with this?
Well, I will say this. I think an LS engine has to be part of it.
There you go.
I like that air suspension on it. And pull up and let it come down.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to riding on that too.
I know you got to be looking good around here in Houston in that car, man. What are you seeing in this old Cadillac?
Let me tell you this. I like black cars. So that 49 got to be black.
What do you think about the interior ideas?
Inside of it is going to be the Texas orange. I was number 20 at UT. Of course, that's on one burnt orange. So I figured I could bring you a number 20 jersey.
You know what the black opens?
Ooh, it's hot. I'm going to use more.
That's plenty. Plenty.
Keeping all this together is real critical, especially like on a 49 Cadillac. You don't just find passenger door parts just at your hardware store.
You know, most of the time when a car comes in, it's complete. Then you take it apart and you start building. In this case, all the parts are crammed in the car, crammed in boxes, crammed everywhere. We don't know what we're even working with. So first things first, we have to lay it all out and to see where to start with this whole puzzle. This is my first time ever putting a 49 Cadillac together. And we don't even know if all the pieces are there. So that's what we're figuring out now. How many pieces we're missing so we can start assembling the car.
Ryan just to really see what we're looking like. We have to build the car in order to take the car apart to build the car again. So, you know, we're already 10 steps back. I'll throw Earl Campbell's name on top of this. Nah, there's no pressure there. What up, fellas?
What up, man?
What's happening?
You ready to get this thing going?
Mm-hmm. We're just talking about how the front end made a huge difference on this car.
Man, it's a cool car. Cool body style, the 49 Cadillac. You know, we've never built one of these, but, you know, ain't no problem.
Nah.
It's a real cool car for a real cool guy that I'm honored to be able to get to work on this car for him. What I want to do is build something just unique to show everyone this is how Extensive does it. Full custom chassis, air suspension, and the biggest wheel possible on this thing. Full custom interior, wants to bring his Texas colors inside the car. You know how we do.
Oh, yeah.
We got to put some power in this thing. I want him to get behind the wheel and just keep scared for a minute. You know what I mean? The end result is just going to be, wow.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Let's put a little bit more of the car together to really see what we're working with. The little stuff, we're not a restoration shop, so we're not trying to put every part and piece back on this thing the way it came from the factory. We're in the making cool-ass car business, and that's what we're going to do. So first things first, let's get this up at a good working height, the front fenders. We'll start building chassis. Y'all ready to get to it?
Let's do it. Yeah, dude. As you can see, I got a nice little rust patch here, same as the other side. I just grinded it just so I can see how much of it was good and what was bad. As you can see, this is just built up rust from over the years. This is where all the water sits, you know? It's everything that runs down the car on the inside and everything. Water has no other where to go. It sits there and it just sits and sits and sits and ends up eating through everything. And this is a common place for rust repair. This, cab corners, anything like that, very typical. See, this thing is pretty pitted and rusted up. I'm going to cut it out and replace this as well. Alright, so I got the old rusty piece cut out, and as you can see how everything is like real pitted and real nasty, and you even got holes here. All that comes through on the backside. Even if you were to blast this, epoxy it, bond up.
The body on Earl Campbell's 49 Cadillac, we're designing and making a one-off frame. You know, anytime we're starting a chassis, the first thing we do is determine where the ground is going to sit. Pull it tight, just real quick. You know, 9 times out of 10, we want those things flat on the ground. So we build the frame tucked up underneath the car. That way it can ride lower, sit lower, and just overall look cooler. You use a string line to simulate where the ground's going to be. So that's what we're doing right now to figure out a couple little clearance measurements, and then we'll kind of go from there to get a game plan on the frame. 1/4 inch back. Okay, that is center. The next thing we measure for is length. So we determine where we want the end of the frame, 37 1/4. And just come up with all them measurements, transfer it to the table. So we'll have all our templates to go cut our material. Last little piece there, we're ready to start cutting. Not every project comes into the shop in pieces like Earl's Caddy, thank goodness. But sometimes we get the complete opposite. A truck that looks almost that mattered. Hey, good morning.
Hello, Bill. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, nice to meet you. It's a cool little truck you got. This is a 1940 F100 Ford pickup. Whoever worked on this before kept its original styling, but still gave it a little custom look.
Had it about 4 years now. Bought it from a friend of mine out of Dallas. Wife always liked farm trucks, and he had one.
It's a cool looking truck. It's definitely got the farm feel here. Did you buy this, you know, just like this?
Pretty much. The only thing I've done is put tires on it.
So you've been driving it pretty regularly?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
We put thousands of miles on it, using it to go on car show trips. Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi.
Think pretty comfortable inside?
Not at all.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you mean. It's cramped in here. It must be brutal riding this thing across the country.
It is. For the driver, it's pretty bad. Definitely kills your back.
What we need to do, Chris, is just tear everything in here out and just start over. Let's maximize every inch of space and give you as much room as possible so we can make it as comfortable for you as can be.
Right.
How's this thing ride?
Like a buck horse. So that's a problem too.
You and your wife have been traveling, putting yourself through that misery.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Air suspension on this thing just solve all those issues.
Good, that's what we're looking for.
Chris, what you got back here?
Well, that's a Ford with the heartbeat of a Chevy.
What do you got in the hood of this thing?
Man, it's an old Chevy 327.
Let's check it out. Oh, small block, huh?
Yeah.
You know, most people like to keep that secret, but old Chris is proud of it. He likes that Chevy heartbeat in the Ford truck. How's this thing run?
Well, it runs okay, but it definitely has a drinking problem. I don't have to change oil, I just add it at every trip.
Well, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can just do a little surgery on this thing, freshen it up, or just do a total transplant and just pull this thing out. Just putting a late model LS in this thing, something really dependable with a lot of power, that'd be real cool in it.
That'll work. I was thinking about rebuilding this motor, but you might as well just go all the way, replace the motor, and that way it's more dependable, easy ride, and I still have the Ford and the Chevy all in one.
Let's go make it happen.
All right.
And when a truck like this comes in, you just think, man, that's cool. I mean, this truck is 70 years old, probably not around anymore. Man, it's really cool to get this in and keep people interested in vehicles like this and being able to put our own spin on it to even make it even cooler for the next generation to see and, you know, and interest them. You know, Chris has been in the rules a little bit, putting a Chevy engine in a Ford truck, but there's no rules to custom. You can change stuff, you can add this, add that, do it however you want it. That's the definition of custom. If Chris wants a Chevy engine on the Ford, we're going to give him exactly what he wants and then some.
So just so you guys know, I spotted something. That's a Chevy and a Ford. We're replacing the motor, right?
We're replacing the motor, but we're replacing it with the Chevy.
So Chris likes being the guy known to drive a Ford with a Chevy motor?
That's his deal. That's what everybody knows him by.
I can't say I blame the guy. You know? I mean, really. What else are we doing to this thing besides changing the heartbeat with another heartbeat?
Chris and his wife go to car shows all over the country. They travel in this. They don't trailer it. They get in it and they drive this thing to ride good, look good when it's parked. Not only that, we need to build a bigger fuel cell for him, something that they don't have to stop every 200 miles and get fuel.
Gotcha.
They only want to stop when they want to stop, not when they have to stop.
All right, so let me chase down a previously loved GM power plant. You do that, we're going to rip the front end off, get the motor and trans out, and we'll let you know if we need anything else.
Let's do it.
Wait on you, man.
You know, that old suspension didn't age well. Jamie and Ryan are going to cut all that out
And make room for that new air suspension, adding a notch on the frame for that rear end.
Wow, so no wonder this guy was having a bumpy ride. Looks like they cut the springs and put these little tensioners in there. That's a quick fix. So I actually grew up in a household with my dad. He was in the hot rods, and he's got nothing but old Fords, and every one of them has big block Chevrolets in them. So this is really common for me. This is kind of childhood right here with a Chevrolet motor and a Ford. Pretty familiar. Oh, man, it looks pretty clean around here.
Yeah, dude, it's not too bad, actually.
See why we want to change this out. It's pretty small.
It is pretty small.
Yeah.
You really don't see those mufflers no more. That's cool that he went his own little route with it.
Yeah.
Let's tear it all apart, man. Let's do it.
forward right here. So our next step is go ahead and put the notch in. Basically, we got to make this off this notch, match the bottom of this door, so we're going to make sure everything looks parallel.
31 7/16
on the money. Then go ahead and tack it. Then do the same thing on the other side.
So now that we got our notch plates tacked in and everything is right where we want it, we're gonna make all of our filler plates now. We want the structure there, so we'll put this, plate it, tack it in, and weld it all before we cut the centers out. You don't ever wanna just put your notches in there and then cut it out right away because you have no structure and the frame could buckle, move all over the place, and do its own thing. So now I can go ahead and cut the center part out. I just gotta add some fillers, weld it out, and the notch is done. And that's how you knock out a notch.
Pulling out the old engine on the 1940 Ford, full front end is, and it's really bad. Man, I've been thinking about which way to go with this, and this just, we can't build around this.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, this is still going to be here.
Yeah.
We got to cut all this out of the way. Let's save this part of the frame.
Okay.
You know, go back in with the filler in here and make it look like it hadn't been touched. Like this part of the frame is brand new.
Right.
And then we'll start from there.
Sounds
we'll
good.
get our new cross member in here. Then we can put our engine in.
Everything that we got here is just complete crap. It's bent, it's old, it's poorly fabricated. It's not gonna work with what we're doing. So I'm gonna cut everything out and start from scratch.
You know, I'm looking at this frame and just seeing all the dead ends we're gonna hit. Every roadblock, every step down the way. There's just no saving it. You know, it's going to be best for us just to think totally outside the box and make something a lot better. Rebuilding the front of this frame is definitely going to make it a lot stronger and save us a whole lot of headaches in the future.
All right, everything's fit up, looking real good. It's just grind it all up and we'll be ready for our cross member. I need to grind this so I can get a good weld. Gotta get all these tacks did. So I got all the welding done. I'm just gonna grind these welds down. Once I'm done, these front horns will look brand new. And then we can move on to the cross member. All right, I'm done. I'm going home.
Of a ground up build like this 49 Caddy, I think from the ground up. Hand making a frame lets us personalize the vehicle totally to the person, bottom to the top. You know, it's a huge honor to get to build something for the legend Earl Campbell. You know, we build a lot of frames, but we're really gonna do what we can to make this special, you know, not only for Extensive, but for Earl himself. Here's him running over everybody in the NFL. We're gonna build a frame that strong. Good. Now we have this all tightened down flat against the table. You can see we have a nice little gap in between the tubing. It looks like a bad fit, but you know, my preference is having that 3/16 gap in between each intersection of the tubing. That way we can weld that thing back and forth and not have to have a huge bevel or worry about penetration. Once this is welded, you know it's going to stay there forever. All right. All finished up with the vertical weld. We're going to let this thing cool off. Then we can bust it apart, stand it, start building cross members. It's good. It's still a little warm, man, but it'll be good. Let's do it. Because we make our parts on site, as soon as we think it, we start making it to the exact dimensions we need. You know, that's the total definition of custom. Immediate immediate satisfaction. You know, Earl's car, we're going to be using a 2-link suspension, which is a 2x2 square tubing linked from the hanger to the axle. That's why it's called 1997. I've been using it on about 80% of our vehicles since day one. It's ideal for a car like Earl's, so we can get it really low and still get a lot of lift out of it, and it improves the handling for about 85% over the factory also. So this is the perfect suspension for this job. You know, one thing pretty unique to the 2-link itself is we're still using U-bolts. It's still going to connect the U-bolts to the axle to hold this all super tight. We'll use a piece of DOM and we weld it onto the link bar itself, so we don't have a traditional little anchor plate at the bottom. Using the DOM to the side of the link bar, it keeps everything super tight and it adds a little style to it also. Cool, we got the link bars all mocked up. Now it's time to get underneath there and mock up the suspension. See if it fits now. 2 links are in. Last little bit is making a cross member to hang the 2 links onto, and that holds the whole rear suspension of the car. After that, bag mounts, shock mounts, diagonal link, we're ready to put it under the car. We finished the metalwork on the custom chassis and suspension for the 49 Cadillac. We got the bag mounts in, link bars in, suspension's done other than shocks. Shoot, we're ready to put this thing in the car. Now we're going to connect the frame to the front cross member and the core support. You know, we got the frame all attached to the body back here, so we know it's not going to go anywhere. So the next step, let's run our string line so we know where the center is. That's definitely a little forward. Let's start putting our front cross member up here. Get that all centered level. We'll start building from there all the way back and tie it in and tie right into the front. It's a done dilly.
Now we have the right angles where they connect. What we're doing now is making it go from a 5-inch frame to a 3-inch frame on top of the cross member. So we're having to basically pie a section out of it. So now what we have here is we have this piece cut down to match the 5-inch frame and the 3-inch frame rail. So what we'll do is we'll put this cap on top. We'll weld the sides to the cross member. Now we have this all tacked into place. We'll finish welding it out. We'll sand it down with a big pad. You'll never know it was cut. It'll transition from a 5-inch frame to a 3-inch frame and fit perfectly on the frame.
Step 198 complete. We got the front rails connecting to the cross member. Next step is weld this out. Then step 199 in the frame building process is connecting it to the core support mount part of the frame. So after that's done, frame's 100% complete. Just like the customer asked, we got that new Chevy engine for the 40 Ford. Okay. Because it's a new engine and trans, we just want to make sure this thing fits perfect. Got our engine in place. What should have been a quick air suspension job just turned into a full frame makeover, cutting out parts and pieces of the frame that should have never been damaged in the first place, building a new cross member, and just slicking the whole frame, making it look brand new. With all the metal work we done on this truck, the interior, I asked Keith to make it custom.
All right, we got the 44 door panel all shaped out. We've got all the foam work done. Now I just need to disassemble it, get it wrapped up. We're gonna use the same materials and do some sculpting, but still have that modern hot rod type feel on this old truck. Try to cut it to where you're taking out the bulk of the material, but you can come back and trim later. But this is another technique that I do that most trimmers don't do. I just kind of bunch it up around the corners. I come in close, trim it with my knife. I melt the ends, and so it actually helps stick it down and gets rid of all these little bumps. I figured this method out myself. Now, we see we got this part wrapped. We'll move on to the other pieces. Down inside there. Just kind of stick it down. And then I try to manually, just with my hand, kind of tuck it in as much as I can. But then now you take this tool and just slowly run it through. Some people call these a no-sew pleat. I call it a heath roll. You know, it's not like this process is super difficult. It's just paying attention to the details. It's the little things that make a difference. Anything I build, I try to put a lot of little details into. Out of the line, all the way down. This is where you have to have a steady hand. Most people don't feel comfortable doing this freehand. I don't feel comfortable with a straight edge. You can be very careful with this foam. It can just rip off a chunk out of nowhere sometimes. It'll make you mad enough to throw it across the room. All right, we got the base panel wrapped. Now what we're gonna do is take this cool material. Being that it's an older vehicle, I wanted to bring fabric into it instead of everything being a vinyl or leather. It looks great, man. It came out looking real good. I like the fabric in there, along with the black to tie into the rest of the vehicle. It still has that old school feel to it, but it looks new.
You know, we get a lot of jobs in, sometimes in and out, sometimes take forever. This job was supposed to be engine, trans, air suspension, out the door. Well, some things snowball, and this is pretty much an avalanche. For starters, the master cylinder was all up underneath the bottom from the factory, so that's all in the way. So, you know, the wiring just looks like a bird nest underneath here. There's no way to tie in our wiring to this and to make it reliable. I mean, we could hit a bump and short out everything underneath this thing. You know, there's just problem after problem all in here. So we got to rip everything out and put everything in brand new. We didn't plan on working on the firewall, the trans tunnel, the floor on the 40 Ford. But we can't let this thing leave the shop looking like it did. You know, we always expect the unexpected, but it always hurts.
Okay, that was the last of the wiring. The AC out, all the wiring, the column. So now this thing's not a trash wagon. We got all the garbage out of it. The next step I'm gonna do is go ahead and fill in all these holes in the firewall and make it beautiful again. Look at this. This is flimsy. This is not really good metal. So I'm gonna cut it out. What I'm doing right now is just making my rough template. Let's transfer this over to sheet metal. Once I do that, I can go ahead and trim, you know, do what I need to do to get the piece to fit properly. Roll it, fill it in. Yeah, no, this is riddled. All this needs to go. Start from scratch. Put fillet welds on them. I'm gonna make it nice, clean, and smooth. Around these bigger holes, I'm gonna have to make sheet metal fillets. Take care of this, make it look beautiful. We got this nice new motor in here. Make everything nice and clean.
All right, so the next step is do the transmission tunnel. We're gonna try to make this as low as possible and as small as possible. And go over to the shear, to the brake, bend it, and roll it, and twist it, and pinch it, and poke it. Sometimes you gotta dance on that metal. You gotta let it know who the real moneymaker is. The roll is like just dead on the money. So, probably gonna get some cardboard and a marker and make me a template and transfer it here to the tunnel and just start trimming and cutting and trimming. And cutting and trimming some more.
Looks nice.
Yeah, I gotta do some more cutting.
Well, trying to give the benefit of the doubt. That side looks real good.
Got the transmission tunnel tacked into place. What I'm gonna do is just take some sheet metal, fill in this patch back here, all tacked in. Gonna start welding up a little bit on it, do a few other little patches here and there, and we're moving on. slowly stabbing away at this thing.
Man, it looks real good. It's mounted nice. No holes in the floor. I like that. It looks safe now.
Yeah.
So just make sure you got as much room as possible in here. We want the seat as far back as we can in this thing. The long trips that get old all cramped up.
No doubt.
So I know you got this.
Right on. Appreciate it. So I gotta scrape all this dynamite out of the way. That way I can get a clean surface so I can weld to. So I'm taking a few measurements. I'm making me some angles. Get some bracketry in here.
I mean, my grandfather told me one time that if someone else can do it, so can you.
Sure.
I've always took that with me and always push myself further and further. I want to always step it up some and do something different out of the box.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about working here. It's like every day we come in, it's like, oh, I was working on this truck yesterday.
Boom,
Yeah.
you're over there.
We're over on this car now.
Everybody's got their own little niche. I pick up things from you. I pick up things from John, or we're working with Bill side by side.
Vice versa. It's a real team. Some people, they wake up every day and they go to that same cookie cutter job, doing the same exact thing every single day, that repetition. And it's just like, that's not for me. That desk job, cubicle, whatever it might be. I like this. I like, this is me.
I agree.
When Chris drove up in his 1940 Ford, this thing looked in real good shape. But we ended up having to do a lot more metal work to the frame and the cab than we planned.
Just got the frame back to powder coat. Everything looks nice and gloss black. Took a lot of hard work for me and Ryan to get the frame to look like this. Everything looks good. All the welds look good. So now it's time to go ahead and put it all back together.
We're almost there. We're painting the dash, color matching the engine.
With this million clips. That looks good.
Fuel cell, new air suspension, and we definitely couldn't let him drive out missing the wiper blade. Not every easy job is easy. Sometimes the easy jobs just snowball into huge ones. This is a prime example. To get the job done right, sometimes it just takes a little extra work. In this case, a lot of extra work. I know when they see it, they're going to be super happy with what we've done. Today we're out in Old Town Spring. We're going to give Chris and Deborah their 1940 Ford back. Hey, what a great place, huh?
It's awesome.
Old Town
Awesome
Spring
place.
just gives you that old feel that just it just fits the truck, right?
Exactly. Perfect.
Well, let's check this thing out. I'm going to get Ryan to bring it around right now.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it looks fantastic.
Like the nailed to ride.
Right?
Yeah.
Sounds perfect. Sounds
Yeah.
perfect. There we go. There you go,
Cool.
Bill. That's the look I want.
I've never seen an old truck do that before.
What y'all think?
Is it low enough?
Get much lower than that.
That just changes the whole attitude when this thing sits on the ground like that, right?
It does. That's the wow factor.
You guys want to check out under the hood?
Sure.
I know you've been waiting on that.
Oh, yeah.
You pop it, Ryan?
Yeah, I get you. You ready for this?
Yeah. Whoa, okay. I can put a Chevy in there.
As you can see, that old tired 350's gone.
It's gone.
We have a new late model 6.0 in this thing, so it's got plenty of power. It's efficient, and it looks good.
When he opened the hood of that truck, I knew I was getting a new engine, but wow.
Truck may be a country girl, but she's got some city slicker shine inside.
How'd you get that in there?
Right? Right? We pulled the frame completely out and powder coated it. Made all new little brackets. It looks really, really nice from up underneath. And as you can see, brand new air suspension. That's all been powder coated too.
It looks gorgeous.
Man, it
looks gorgeous.
We're definitely proud of it. Let's check out the interior.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Man, Bill. That's plush. That'll handle a long trip.
That is
There you go.
beautiful. Looks fantastic.
Those seats, just scooting them back and recovering them just wasn't going to cut it.
Right.
So we just ended up stripping the whole interior. There was license plates crammed up in here, all inside to make patches on top of patches on top of patches on the
Oh my
floor.
goodness.
So
Wow.
we addressed all that to start with, replacing all the sheet metal. We got the new center console, repainted the dash, upgraded the
very
gauges. Got everything is all brand new. It's all 100% brand new. And of course, we got that other wiper blade on there.
Yes, definitely. Had to have that.
Thank
Right?
you. As a passenger, thank you.
It's gonna be fun riding.
It is.
Right.
It definitely is.
What Bill's done now is just amazing, and definitely something that will last, well, probably our lifetime.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Perfect.
Hope you guys have, many happy years with it.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate it.
I can tell by the look on their faces, this is definitely what they wanted. They just didn't even know it. With all that extra work involved, it's days like today that really pay off to make a customer a happy customer.
They left the back side on Ford with the heartbeat of a Chevy. That's us.
That's us.
Really appreciate that they took care of this truck like it was their own, and they made it better.
They dropped it to the floor. That was just amazing. Can't wait to get it on the road, put some miles on it, and win some trophies at some shows.
Back in the day, Earl Campbell was one of the best football players and the toughest that anybody's ever seen. We're going to get him an engine to this 49 Caddy that's up to his standards. A brand new LSX 454 with over 600 horsepower. Now that we've built a custom chassis, suspension, and fixed all the body, we got to make space for this engine. Man, this definitely isn't going to work. Well, the problem is, no room to mount our upper control arms. All this course support's in our way. I guess this is the old school crumple zone. So the best course of action, cut all this completely out of the way. You'll have more room for the radiator, have more room for the wheel, have more room for the upper control arm, have more room for the power steering lines. It's a win, 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 win. Then we'll go back in and weld some support back in this thing and make it look cool while we're doing it. Make everything way easier. That's it. Let's get to chopping. My specialty. This is a big build and then some. We definitely have our work cut out for us. As a kid working on this build for the Earl Campbell. He's given a lot to this city. I think I'm speaking for all the guys at the shop. We cannot. Here's my trophy.
I don't know I did a good job when it looks like you can just dive into this paper.
This thing makes 627 horsepower and 586 foot-pounds of torque, so this thing's going to be a tire shredder for sure.
The old school 1934 Buick, and yeah, a lot more power and a lot more reliability.
So we got us a little situation here.
The new old school.
What?
This is very quickly becoming one of my favorite cars.
Whoa, weep.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Well, that hasn't been separated in a long time, huh?
It looks good. Everything's clean. All sheet metal looks pretty nice. You ready to roll it out?
Yep, let's go.
We're known for custom trucks, but, whatever rolls through the door, we're going to get our hands on and give the little extensive touch to it. And when we're building a 49 Cadillac for NFL Hall of Famer Earl Campbell, this guy is a living legend. So everybody in the shop's got to be on point and make sure this thing's going to be perfect. This car is special. And I'll say that about all of them, but this one's is definitely special.
I think it's your turn, buddy, to finish her.
I appreciate it, man.
It's been months of metal work and body work just to get to this point. When people see all the custom touches that are all throughout this car, they're going to know it's Earl Campbell's. It's always
always a little bonus in the day when you get something major done, like just pulling the frame out, getting it cleaned up, getting it loaded off the powder coat. It's just a huge accomplishment. You know, considering how Earl's car came into what it is now, finally feels like we're getting something done. Thank you. Well, this thing is going to be a cool car. Earl, where's the first place you're going to take this car?
In Austin, Texas, there's a little hamburger joint. Been there since the 40s.
That's the spot.
I hang out there. That's where the cars meet on Thursday night. So that's going to be my first appearance in this 49.
All right, man. You make me hungry.
I know. What's for lunch? Burgers?
Earl, man, I'd really like to take you in the shop and show this thing to you at the stage it's at, but you've seen it in pieces enough. If you can bear with me, just wait just a little longer, I promise you, it's going to be extra special for you to see this thing totally finished.
I can't wait, Bill.
For the most part, Earl's just been leaving the design for the Caddy to us. But you know, Earl called me a couple days ago, said he had some ideas for the color accents for the interior.
I'm going to tell you, man, I can't wait to see it. But when I was coming through town, I bought you some UT that I like that interior to look like. This is the real UT orange, what I used to wear when I was in college. And now I don't need a number 20 on the leather, but everything else I would love for the inside to look like that.
So you don't want just us to get material to match this color. You actually want to use the UT jersey.
UT jersey, that orange
in the car.
In the car. I got to have that orange in it.
Man, that's pretty cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Use some touches all throughout. When you're building a car for Earl Campbell, you really want those touches to stand out. And putting these jerseys in the interior, this is definitely the way to go. Everybody's going to know whose car it is.
Oh, yeah. I feel like a junior high football player getting promoted to the varsity on that level.
You know, we built a lot of cool cars and trucks around, but this is by far probably definitely my favorite one.
A 49 Caddy.
Yes, sir.
An orange interior. That's going to be great.
Man, we're going to make it happen.
You got it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Shock me. Knock me out of my socks, but I'm ready.
All right.
How's she looking?
It's looking real good. Considering, you know, where it's at now to where it started with, night and day. Repairing the rust on this thing, rebuilding the floor, you know, the drive shaft tunnel, transmission tunnel, building this car to the new chassis, to the new suspension, to the new engine, the LSX under the hood, man, this is going to be cool.
Just the hours that are in this area, much less the rest of the car.
You know, there's definitely a lot of custom modifications to this thing, you know, especially the firewall, to really get this thing looking like a car. When Earl pops a hood on this thing,
Man, he's going to be so impressed.
for the new LSX, we're making custom intakes and exhaust, and it's wheels, tires, and brakes. As soon as we get this thing painted, we're going to get it over to interior for custom door panels, seats, console, and headliner. The stereo that's going in this thing, all the little custom accents. You know what you give a guy that has everything? 49 custom Cadillacs, that's what you give them. You know, only thing left to do is just paint it and then everything else. Let's start with just the paint.
Let's get in the booth.
Let's get it pushed in there. All right, man. You got this?
Got this.
You know, one of the things Earl wanted from the very beginning is black paint. And Chris is getting that thing going now.
We're going to make sure that we get enough paint on this car that any imperfections or whatever, we want them to be covered. We'll put as many coats as it takes to get this car as black as possible. I met Bill back when we were, in our teens. We were in a truck club here in Houston, and he started doing air suspension. He did some work on one of my trucks a long time ago. I think when I was 18, I did it for 15 years straight. It's fun to do. I enjoy it. I grew up watching Earl Campbell play football, and, you know, people are going to see this car, and whoever knows it and who don't know it, at least I'll know I painted it. I'll know I did a good job when I can tell that it looks like you can just dive into this paint job because the color is going to look so deep. Okay, we got our Cadillac process is wet sanding and buffing. It has an orange peel texture, kind of leathery looking. That's why they call it orange peel. It looks like the peel of an orange. What we want to do is sand this down with our blocks of different sandpapers, get it slick as possible, and then we're going to come back and buff it to give it that nice mirror finish. The guys did such a good job on this firewall doing the bead rolling on it that I can't use this block on because it will burn the paint. When I say burn it, I mean sand through the paint. We have real problems if I do that. We'll block the flat areas with this block of sandpaper, and then we'll have to come back by hand and get around all the bead rolls with finer grit sandpaper. And I know where I can and can't go because, like I said, we do not want to burn this paint at this stage in the game. Okay, this is our last step in our wet sanding process. We've got 3,000 grit sandpaper on our DA sander. We'll run over this real quick and then we'll be ready to buff. And when we start buffing, that's what's going to bring out that mirror shine that we're looking for. You have to spend the time on it to make it as slick and smooth as possible, or when this thing's buffed, you'll be able to see every flaw that's in it. All right, we just completed the wet sanding, buffing, and polishing part of our firewall here, which is the final step in a paint job. The only thing we got left now is to do the whole rest of the car.
Most of the guys working here have spent their whole lives in Houston. John, you know, is a lifer too. He just couldn't wait to get going on the interior. Because for guys like us, you know, Earl's just a local legend.
I'm getting ready to start the door panels and the interior on Earl's Caddy here. So what I've done is I've just laid out some templates on the doors and the panels all the way in. I got me a pencil, good eraser. We'll just sit here and figure out what we're going to make here and try to get everything incorporated in all at one time and get everything drawn out so we'll see the whole piece. We got the basic sketch down of where we're headed to, so now it's just a matter of how do we get UT in here. We don't want to make it overpowering. It needs to stay kind of subtle and just an accent in the car. So what we might do is put some sort of insert spot behind that. That might work. After looking at the placement of where I've got this armrest in relation to the seat, it's going to have to move up. So I'm really happy with the shape that I have of the armrest. So I'm going to transfer that onto another piece. This is how these things work. You just sit here and stare at them and think about it a little while and it'll come to you. It'll all make sense. And so I like to just sit here early in the morning, quietly, enjoy my coffee, and sketch. So all I gotta do is just lift it up and stick it to another piece of board. So you just stick that down. I'll take an Alpha knife, cut that out, and that'll give me my template to work with so I can put this wherever I want it at on here. So what I'm thinking here is armrest just needs to move up to about right there. That looks good. I like where we're headed with this.
Even though there was assembly lines back when Earl's 1949 Cadillac was made, you know, a lot of stuff was made by hand. There wasn't any robots. And we're taking the same approach from the metalwork to the interior.
You know, Earl showed up the other day, brought in some jerseys, wanted us to work these into the car somehow. So my thought here is to take and use those to create that Cadillac V and drop that in right here underneath these pillows. Ought to look really cool. Just a nice pop of that burnt orange in the car without being too overwhelming. Ought to turn out looking really cool. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to lay out the rest of the seams on the seat. I'm going to start laying out the bolsters first. I got a template that I've already drawn out for that. Make sure I have everything lined up. I want the lines exactly where I want them. In the center, what we're going to do is we're going to draw out a 2-inch tuck and roll. It's just something that was used classically back in the hot rod days. It's basically they take and they roll the leather over and you tuck it in with some foam and it actually makes these pillow tops. Just kind of keep it the old school feeling of the 49 Cadillac, and then we'll have that modern touch of this nice, hard, solid, shaped out pillow on the top here that still has that lean to the classic styles. All right. Now everything in here has got a nice flow. We've still got that classic feel to it with the tuck and roll. I think it's a little pop of orange up here in the top for these V's. It's going to be, get them into the trim shop, and we'll get them covered.
We put the old school 1930 1934 Buick Model 57 on hold because the owner wanted to figure out what kind of power plant he wanted to use. He ended up with the late Model 5.3, and now we're back at it.
Got it, huh? Got it.
This is perfect for this old Buick.
It always sucks to see a project get pulled off the lift, but I'm glad he made up his mind exactly what he wanted. Now we can move forward with the rest of the car.
I wasn't really feeling taking this thing apart. It was so pristine, so original. It was hard to cut into it, but we pulled out the stock straight 8 motor, ripping out the old suspension, and start building fresh. Get the steering all mocked up. I mean, this thing's going to be a new car all underneath once we're done. Especially with the new 5.3.
He just had to have a new motor and transmission in it.
Exactly, man. Power, reliability. He'll never have to worry about this for sure.
I can't wait to see this thing come together. It's going to be a really, really nice old school.
The new old school.
The new old school.
Freezing cold out here today, and we're about to go drop the LS into the Buick.
The old school straight 8 is a lot wider than the straight 8. So once little one gets this thing in, we have to mock up a new steering configuration.
All right, just make sure that it doesn't hit the headlight or the paint.
Okay. Go ahead.
In?
Yeah.
This engine's pretty dirty, but when we're done with it, it's gonna look spotless.
Come in. Slowly, slowly. Watch the front bumper.
Yeah. All right, we clear?
Yeah.
Now, if we get that angle under it, then we need one more in the front, and then we can go ahead and start moving it around. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now that we have the header mocked up and the engine fully on its own in the car, the steering has to be moved now too.
The owner still wants to keep as much of that original interior as possible. So we're trying to keep the old steering column.
The key to work on these beautiful cars is you gotta do yoga at least once a week. Since I can't cut right outside on the firewall, we gotta take the ignition off, release the column, and pull it out without damaging this nice, beautiful interior. Beep, beep. That was easy, wasn't it? Got it out.
Cool, man. Keeping the old column just fit the whole original interior in this is definitely the way to go about it. There's a problem with that, though. We don't have any way to adapt the original column to the rack and pinion that we're going to put underneath there. So we have an end of an old column. I want to graft this on to the original one.
All right.
That way we can adapt all this right to the rack and pinion, and everything will work right.
Right.
You know where to cut.
Got it.
Quick, easy, right? No, this just goes to show you there's something that wasn't even thought of when we set out to do this little project. But, that's just what we do. We deal with them, keep on rolling. Got that?
It's kind of like a Russian doll. Everything just goes in piece after piece after piece, and they're all gonna fit in perfect. Now it's time to put all the pieces together and make this custom 1934 2020 steering column. So this is not our finished product until it gets painted and fully installed, but now we're ready to mock up our rack and pinion. I gotta wash my hands because I do not want to get this interior. A while ago we were sticking all the way here, almost touching the header. Now we're right at the firewall, exactly where we measured, exactly where we wanted it to be. From here we can pivot around it and we can go straight into our rack and pinion that's going to end up being up there in the front.
So we got us a little situation here. Our rack is way up there in front, like almost a foot in front of the engine. And with our column coming out like right behind the cylinder head, we need to detour our steering shaft around the exhaust header and then go back straight to the rack. So we had to make us like a two-piece steering shaft with the center U-joint mounted on a heim joint. We got to get this thing as close as possible to the header without touching. That way it doesn't put this U-joint in so much of an angle, which is going to cause hard spots in your steering. We have 3 U-joints. There's nothing to hold it in the middle. We got to support it with this Heim joint. And what this is going to do is hold this shaft in the center from moving around and hitting the headers into the chassis. That way it'll support this from moving around. We got everything in place. Now we're ready to give this a rotation. Check it out. Man, this steers pretty good. I don't feel any hard spots. I think we got this set up pretty good. Now we definitely know this car's gonna steer in the right direction.
You're definitely not gonna make a lot of new friends with the Buick crowd cutting into this original 34 Buick. But we're still doing what we can to give this thing the respect it deserves. I have Edgar color matching the engine to the cab, and Matt's adding a super clean serpentine setup.
So now we got our motor in here. We're gonna go ahead and start getting the front drive assembly on, the water pump, alternator, and everything that gets the motor running. So with this bracket here, it holds the water pump, the alternator, power steering pump. It allows everything to be more compact and gives us a lot more clearance, especially when a car like this, we barely have any clearance in the engine bay, so it tightens everything up and gives it a nice look. Now that we got our bracket on, we'll go ahead and mount our power steering pump up. We're still real tight on clearance, but it fits, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Now it's lean, mean, and ready to be seen. Got it.
Yes, man.
Definitely a big improvement from what was in it.
A lot more power and a lot more reliability.
And it kind of looks like it belongs.
Yeah, it just looks right at home in this thing. Man, Matt, it's all downhill now, huh?
Yes, sir.
You know, there's so much room on the backseat of this 49 Cadillac that John has plenty of space to come up with a couple of one-off speaker enclosures.
So what I'm gonna do to take up this space here is I'm gonna use it as a subwoofer enclosure. I'm gonna take my subwoofer, flip it upside down and downfire it into the pocket over here. Get a little back pressure loaded on the front of the subwoofer. It'll improve the sound a little bit. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'll start with the baffle of the box, and I can take that and I start building the walls of the box up and around and get the shape to it that I'm looking for. Figure out how we're gonna go about tying this whole big piece together. Let's start with the back wall that needs to be curved. Basically just cutting it every 1/4 inch, almost all the way through, and that'll allow it to bend and shape to the fender well just fine. So once I get my angle cut on it, I can go put it in the car and get it stuck. This enclosure is a little different than most of the enclosures that we build around here. It will actually become the interior trim panel of the car. It will make a top piece that comes out, but it won't come out all the way. It'll stop shy over here with some shape in it, and we'll bring it all back into here to go down. And this will turn into your armrest area up here. So when you're sitting in the back seat, you're in an armrest here, and this will all sculpt down towards the seat. In order for this material to make the shape that I want, I've made these ribs, and we'll put them around in a couple of places, and that'll give us something to attach our material to and start fiberglassing. Just gonna take a piece of this flex form carpet here, push this down in here, it'll take the shape that we want, we'll get it stapled down, and it should be perfect. Now that we got that worked out, next thing we'll do is take some fiberglass resin, start piling it on here, and wait for it to get dry enough to touch so we don't get it all over the car. And once it's to that point, we're gonna put it back in the car, continue building our panels around it, get everything tied in. When you're building your custom panels like this, you want to make sure that you keep everything in consideration, keep things nice and tight so you have one nice cohesive flow through your entire panel.
Edgar painted the new LSX for Earl's 49 Cadillac. And of course, it's Texas Longhorn Orange. And we got our custom chassis back from Powder Coat. We're putting it all together with brand new air lines, brand new brake lines, all new stainless bolts, and of course, brand new billet wheels.
Starting to look like a car now.
Yeah, looks good with 4 wheels on it.
Man, now you can actually see how the contrast is coming together. The little pop of the motor color is going to tie into a little bit of interior color. It's going to make the whole car a complete package. Man, this car is fit for Earl Campbell.
Definitely. I hope he'll let me borrow it one day.
When you're getting the body ready to put on the frame, it makes for a really, really good day. Seeing the big pieces, man, it gets me excited. This is very quickly becoming out of caddies about to be born today. I sure be liking that chassis. You should probably set it down on there, huh?
Yeah.
Looking good.
It looks real good.
You know, these were the colors he was wearing when he won the Heisman Trophy. You gotta love this, right?
Right. Man, especially being his first custom car.
I'd be happy with this, my 100th custom car.
Like a V?
Yeah, dude, it sure is. Just for this car.
With all the work we've done to Earl Campbell's 49 Cadillac, there's still something missing. So I asked Justin to build a couple of custom downpipes.
Right here on Earl's Cadillac, we got the LSX 454 crate motor stabbed in there. This thing makes 627 horsepower and 586 foot-pounds of torque at 5,000 RPM, so this thing's going to be a tire shredder for sure. So we're going to go ahead and get our throttle bodies mounted up so we can start doing our charge pipes. We got these billet throttle bodies. They're twin 102 millimeter throttle bodies, so it's going to supply a lot of air to this big cubic inch motor. We have our aluminum mandrel bends. They're 3 new now. We kind of see that there's a lot of room in the engine bay, so we get creative on this intake system. Well, since he went to UT and old Bevo over there, we're going to go ahead and do it where it looks like almost 2 horns in the center. 5 inches off of each horn. I marked 5 inches from the end of our tube so that both of our tubes match up, and I'm going to use the tape pretty much to connect the dots so that we have a good clean cut line to follow. Let's go cut some pipe. Basically, since this is a big 454 cubic inch engine, we need to make sure that we can supply it with enough air to make that power. So that's the reason we chose the 3.5 inch dual throttle body setup. And we're going to try to put the filter placement where we're pulling good, clean, fresh air right in the front of the vehicle. So I like the way that the intake has that X pattern, so we're going to try to emulate that with our intake tubes. It's looking like we can take this 180-degree bend, split it in half, use that 90-degree angle, and it should put our pitch right exactly where we're wanting it. So now that we have all of our tubes cut, you can kind of see the direction we were talking about in the beginning where we wanted our placement of our air filters. And now that we have it with the tape kind of securing the 2 tubes in place, we can get it pulled off and go weld it up. So on this tube here, I'm going to end up welding it clockwise, coming around this way. And on this tube here, I'm going to come counterclockwise. It's going to give it one of those little small details that most people wouldn't notice, but, you know, to the ones that do it, they'll appreciate it. So we're going to go test fit them on the caddy, see how they look. If everything looks good, we can go ahead and pull them off and polish them. So now that we got everything wrapped up, everything's installed, see everything fits like we wanted, I think Earl will be real happy with this when he sees it.
After a lot of hard work and some tough decisions, this 1934 Buick's finally done. You know, I was really reluctant about cutting out all the old factory suspension, but once we got into it, that's what we do.
Bill called me and said the car was ready to come and look at it, so, you know, I invited the guys, Silveranos Car Clubs of Houston. All my friends are here, their cars are here. We're all excited to look at the Buick.
What's going on, man?
See you, man.
Javier, how you doing, man? Good to see you. What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up?
You got the whole crew out, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You know, after looking at your whole crew's cars, I can definitely see why you wanted to do what you wanted to do.
Oh, yeah, man. I got to keep up with them, so.
Yeah. Your Buick now, it'd definitely fit in with the crowd for sure.
Oh, I can't wait.
All right, hey, good deal, man. Man, she looks pretty. Damn, bro. Oh my God, good deal, man. Awesome. All right, man. Good job, man. Good, man.
Man, what you think about that thing?
Man, it looks good, beautiful. I love the way it looks, the stance, the wheels.
You know, first things first, we got this thing on the lift and just started fresh with a new rear end, built independent front suspension for it with all air all the way around. That thing's gonna ride good, handle good, and be reliable for sure.
Now you know why I asked you to do what I wanted to do, right?
You know, Javier, I gotta admit, once this thing's down on the ground like that, man, it changes the whole look.
Yeah.
Definitely made the right decision for sure.
Yeah.
One other thing you wanted was the reliability and some power under the hood, right?
Right.
Let's check out under the hood.
How'd you fit that thing in there?
Started out ripping that old engine and trans out and just getting a pull-out 5.3, stripping it all down, really dressed it up, make it look good. So when you pop the hood, you got something to be proud of.
Man, wonderful.
It was tough, but definitely worth it. We had to do a vintage era for that's such a narrow frame in it. We had to custom make all the steering to get around the headers, and everything had to be one off, especially because of the fitment.
The old engine looked like an antique. This is state of the art. This car went from being real cool to real gangster.
You probably got 10 times the power that this thing came with. We'll see if you can keep some tread on these old cokers here.
All right, can't wait.
Taking a late model engine, sticking in such an antique car, you think it'd probably stick out. But all the work we put into this engine, making it look the way it does, it's like it was made for this car. What do you guys think, man? You gonna let this guy cruise around with you?
Yeah. I'm so happy now that I can just get in this car, start it up, and show it off. Thanks a lot, man.
You're welcome, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right.
You know, sometimes in this business, you really got to lean on your guys. You know, on the Caddy, we really had to lean on John. You know, he's really coming through. Every little detail he's adding is 100.
We get started on the rear deck for the 49 Caddy. We're going to start by cutting out our base out of MDF. We'll take that over to the car, get that in place, and start building it up from there. The back deck has a curve in it, so we'll make two pieces. I'm going to take some fiberall here and mix it up and use that to actually put these two pieces, especially with it being up here in the rear deck of the car. You know, it takes a lot of heat up here. We want something that's really going to be able to stand up and not give us any issues. This will be the riser that'll come up from the rear deck that helps tie it into the back of the seats. All right, we got this thing all dried up, positioned, ready to go. So I'm gonna pop this thing out, take it across the way, put it on the table, we'll finish it out there.
You know, Earl Campbell's 49 Cadillac is just one of those builds where we're just making as many parts as we can by hand. Ryan's finishing up the custom exhaust on one side. Now he's mirror imaging it to the other.
The first side is always the easiest. Mirroring it is the hardest part about it. It's just a lot of marking, fine-tuning, a bunch of small cuts until you get that final exact perfect fit that we're looking for. And you know, it's easier to cut a little bit at a time than cut a whole bunch and then have to either add or go find another piece and start all over again. Well, the reason I'm putting the V-band here is because the muffler and all that, all the way to the header, is all one piece right now and one full piece. Houston, 40 degrees in the morning, 80 degrees at lunch. This point of the exhaust is the most complex of it all because of this bin that I got right here and then just what I had to work with and just the limited amount of space. So trying to make this work and flow and not cause any restriction and also clear everything is pretty tricky, but hopefully I can get exactly what I'm looking for out of this and make it go all the way and jump out the back instead of stopping right here. Alright, so I didn't let it beat me. We were able to make it come all the way out to the back. That's gonna look tight from the back. Whenever you're driving behind it, see that? That's gonna look dope. So now all we got left to to do is just make some hangers, drill some O2 bungs, weld it all up, and throw it back in the car. I think if Earl ever gets to take a look underneath this car, he should be very happy. I know I am.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Bill?
On this build, there was a lot of parts had to get chromed, but that grill, that grill's something special. We had to make sure this thing shined. You got something for me?
Oh, yeah, I got something for you, buddy. I got your grill.
Man, that thing looks good, Victor.
It's a 1940.
Dip this thing in chrome, but...
Yeah, I mean, you do it in 30 minutes.
Right.
No.
You had to take the whole thing apart, huh?
The whole thing apart? Yeah. And these 5 pieces right here, they're made of stainless steel. So you got to be careful with them, when you polish them, chrome plate them.
Yeah, and it's not just this either. Of course, you got such a good reflection. You look down here, you see everything up here, so everything back here has to look just as good.
Like that.
Because this thing's pretty much a mirror now.
Yeah.
Victor, you sure this is the same one?
The same one, buddy.
This thing looks brand new. I think it's better new.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
Man, I appreciate it, Victor.
It's all yours, buddy. Just be careful now.
Right?
Yeah.
A ton of interior work's been done to this 49 Cadillac, but there's still a ton more to go. John's got his work cut out for him, building custom speaker pods, cup holders, and pockets. Man, these door panels are gonna be cool.
So now that I got the speaker pod and cup holder pocket all ground out in shape, the next component that I need to finish for the door panel is the armrest. So I'll just take my template here, just gonna trace it out. I'll come in and rough cut it, and we'll route it. Alright, got them all cut out. Next step to do, sand them down, glue them up, and then stack them. You just kind of come up with ideas in your head and then think of ways to execute your ideas. The stacking method here is basically just to get a big chunk to carve out of, as you would any other sculpture, really. So the next thing you're going to do is got to put the hand pull in this thing. I've got a template here, so I'll have it for both sides. Trace it out. All of this in here is going to get carved out, so we have some place to put fingers, grab a hold of it, and close it. Earl came in the other day. He had a challenge. He really wants to get this UT burnt orange color in the car. We're going to take this, cut it up, and wrap a few pieces. That will work. This is where all that body working and sanding really starts to pay off. You can actually start to see what you've made, see the final product. Everything starts to come together. You can see all your lines, your details, and if you don't put all that time and effort into it, when you get to this point, it'll start to show too. All right, well, that's a wrap. Only thing left to do now is get it on the car and get the speakers in it and get everything buttoned up, and this thing will be ready to roll.
I love working on Cadillacs because that's just the car of the industry.
It's one of those cool cars that was always fun because they were the luxury of the time.
Cadillac rolls in here.
We're all fighting to work on it.
I hope I get to work on it.
John knows with that Cadillac, he can put 15 speakers in the trunk. You can make it as low as you want and make it go as fast as you want.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be the porter and drive around the parking lot. I mean, that's what I want to do. Of course, we did the 59 for Slim. We cut the roof off and made it a Roadster.
Night and day difference in that
just
car.
doing the windshield wrap around on that car.
Yeah, stretching the back out, right. Seats that far back to make room for
That's
him.
one thing Cadillacs always had, is plenty of room.
Nothing said America like Cadillac.
As American as...
apple pie. They'll keep making them. We'll keep customizing them. People keep eating them.
I can remember being young and my dad watching Earl Campbell just killing people every week. He just rooted for him, every time he played. When people hear now that we're building a car for Earl Campbell, you hear all the stories of how good a player he was and just how he dominated everybody on the field. Every step of the way on this 49 Cadillac, Earl's been an inspiration to us. The consistency, that's what we were going for in building this Cadillac. So today it's an honor to give Earl his car back. The 49 Cadillac is something I'm very proud of, and every guy in the shop is proud of. I'm kind of jealous, man. This is a cool car.
Hey, Tim, you can't tell me anything about this car, man.
Man, I don't want to tell you anything. I want to keep it a surprise for you till Bill gets here. One thing I will tell you is it's all in one piece now. All them buckets it showed up in and records that it showed up on, it's in a whole lot better shape than what it was.
Earl came all the way from Austin to Houston just to see this car we built for him. You know, the last time you seen it, it was in thousands of pieces. I can't wait to show it to him now.
How you doing, Bill?
Man, what's going on?
I'm here to see that bad boy, Caddy. Oh, yeah, man.
Man, you saved me just in time. You've been picking my brains wanting to see this thing.
What do you think, Earl? I know you've been waiting a while. You ready to see this thing?
I'm ready. I can't wait, Bill.
Man, Timmy, let's do it.
Here she comes.
It was fun building this. This is something we're all super proud of for sure.
Come on, man. Hurry up. Let's get this car uncovered. Look at that. Whoa, man, that is great.
What you think, Earl?
Golly, Bill, when this car first got here, that paint job, that black. Man, that bumper, that's a hell of a lot of chrome.
There's plenty of black and plenty of chrome on this thing.
Oh, man, that's great.
Man, Earl, you know, it's a huge challenge to make, you know, parts in the parking lot into a car looking like this. You know, we first started off getting this thing on the lift, doing rust repair. You know, getting a car this old, this straight, and the gaps right on this, the body guys, that's showing their skills right there. A 49 Cadillac don't come like that. You make it like that.
Yeah, especially when the panels come in the back of a truck all thrown together, just thrown in that truck.
Come on, man, you guys don't let me forget that, huh?
You know, especially black. You know, looking down the side of this thing is laser straight.
Man, that is beautiful.
You know, building the chassis on this thing, Earl, motor mounts, new rear end, new front suspension, air suspension, so this thing lays real low to the ground too. Every nut, bolt, everything is 100% brand new. You have a brand new 49 Cadillac.
Just to see it all put together, I was amazed. I mean, the chrome on it, the lovely lady on the front. I mean, I just can go on. I just couldn't believe it.
Earl, you had a couple stipulations. You wanted this car to be some power under the hood.
That's right.
We got something for you under there.
Let's see. Good night, nurse.
Earl, you said you wanted some power under the hood in this thing. The 454 LSX is the one for it.
And burnt orange?
Yep.
That's great, man.
Building all new firewall on this thing, all new sheet metal molded onto the fenders, new core support. John came in and just bead roll you a nice, cool panels in there. You know, it's got the little Cadillac V recessed down in it.
On the wall, man. It's unbelievable.
You know, Earl, when Justin was making the air intakes of this, he took a design cue from, you know, UT mascot Bevo, kind of replicated the Longhorn on the
Yeah, sure, you kind of see that's an intakes.
One of your honors in life was the Hall of Fame, so we wanted to make you a medallion here to hold the two pipes together. John machined us a deal. This is 1991 Hall of Fame with a little football on it.
You know, there's no mistaking whose car this is.
That's right.
Let's check out the interior of this thing.
Wow.
Man, last time you seen this thing, there was just piles and piles and piles of parts for the interior on this thing, right?
Yes, man. It's got the burnt orange on the door.
Man, we know you had to have that UT orange. We sewn them into the interior itself. All this is handmade by old John Burgess himself.
Yes, he did a great job.
You know, it's got you a little something special back there in the rear deck as well.
Yes.
You get the little Longhorns incorporated in the back, all the way up into the Dakota Digital gauges.
Now, there's some special numbers in your life of what you've been through. So 20, you were a Heisman at UT.
That's right.
34, you were a Houston Oiler, and then 91, you went to Hall of Fame.
That's right. There's no doubt everything in this car says Earl Campbell. I mean, they went out of their way and beyond. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more. Oh, man. Yeah, breathe. That's down in the dirt.
That just changes the whole attitude, right?
Yes, sir. When you see that 49 Caddy sitting up, that's one thing. But when you see it go down all the way in the grass, that's bad. You got a 49 after that.
I try to make this thing as comfortable and as cool for you as possible. It's got 24 by 9s in the front and 22 by 12s in the rear.
I never seen a rim like that before. That's one of a kind. I love it. What a beautiful car.
I like your car, man.
I'm happy it's mine. I'm happy it's mine. Thank y'all very much for what y'all done. You and your team should be very proud.
The whole process from start to finish, it took some time. It was a labor of love for every guy. I can't thank my guys enough. And this is just one more example of us just, y'all ready to make some grandpas mad?
Let's do it.
This 1975 Bronco has a classic design.
It's been through 2 ex-wives and still got to keep hold on it.
Oh, yeah. This makeshift roof ain't gonna cut it.
Man, that's the downfall of custom. It has never stopped.
Always something to do.
Always.
Oh, my God, Bill.
Is that low enough or what?
Dude.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Busier and busier. We got a lot of cars in here, and we need more room to bring in more cars. That's exactly what we're doing. Need more room? We're going to make more room. Started out doing a little trade job here and there. Got a little more concrete. Built an awning. Ended up enclosing it. And now we're about, 22,000 square feet. That's not enough. So we're putting down some new concrete in front of the interior shop. Eventually, we'll cover this thing up and fill it full of lifts. Thank God I got customers like Marcos, got a huge concrete company. We're doing a little work for him, doing a little work for us, doing a little trade, little barter deal. Here we are expanding. It's one of those win-win deals. We get to expand and we get to work on Marcos's next project.
That thing is bad.
From the first project Marcos brought in, years and years ago until the latest.
Golly, I don't even know what to say, brother.
This guy is not only a good customer, but he became a really good friend of mine. And, what better to work on, the latest and greatest project for a good friend of yours. What's up, man?
What's up, Bill?
You finally got you one.
I told you I was going to get one.
Marco's been talking about old Ford for quite some time. It looks like he finally found the perfect one for him. This 1968 was the 4th generation of this F100. Older ones had a more rounded hood, but as you can see, trucks is as good a shape as this.
It looks all right, but not good enough for me.
It's perfect, but it's not perfect for you.
Exactly. Everyone, they can have a classic truck, but not a classic custom, because a lot of people, they don't like to, cut into a nice classic looking truck like that. It's going to be an easy project for you.
Oh, here we go. Let me guess, under the hood, there's not enough power.
Nope.
Not low enough.
Nope.
Don't have the right wheels and tires.
Nope.
How'd I know this already?
You already know him. It's just too classic.
Because we built Marcos a project about, once a year, I already know what this thing's going to look like before he even talks about it. I think 24 by 8s on the front, 24 by 15s on the back. Get this thing really low down to the ground.
Really low on the ground.
See what you got on the hood of this thing. Marcos, you got you a V8 underneath here already.
The V8?
Well, back in 1968 when this thing was new, it was probably plenty of power.
Back then?
Now, no. This ain't gonna cut it, especially for you.
Yeah.
Man, I think the best thing to do is just rip all this out. Instead of trying to upgrade this to give you more power, let's just rip this thing out, put a late model Coyote in this thing,
right,
and then we'll put a supercharger on top of that also.
I like that. I like
that. So you got, not only enough power.
Well, I like that.
Well, let's see what you got in the interior.
All right. What do you think?
It's a good looking truck, man. It's solid.
It's clean, but I still want you to make them different.
Just wake it up a little bit. Still keep that classic look and just add a couple little custom touches.
Right.
New gauges in this thing.
Right.
Man, I love the two colors. I love the green and the brown. They look really good together. Get rid of the white on the door panel. Make a custom door panel.
Right.
Brown leather to really make it have that custom look.
And don't forget about my AC.
Oh, no.
I need AC on this thing.
I know you got to ride cool in this thing for sure.
So what do you think on the bed?
To get the stance right on this thing with such a big wheel and tire combo,
it's going to be low to the ground. So in order to do that, we're going to have to remake the fender wells in the back of this come up a lot higher, and of course with those wide tires, a lot wider. The differential is going to come up a lot higher, so we'll have to raise this bed floor up so you don't see a big hole in there.
Right.
Still have that classiness with the custom look.
I told you I was going to make it easy on you on the next one.
Yeah, it's way easier, right? You know, no matter what it is, it isn't fast enough. It isn't big enough, low enough. He has to have just such his cars. This one's no different.
So I'll come by and pick them up next week?
Yeah, right. Come on. We'll see you soon, though. Marcos is back again. Longtime customer, has become a really good friend of mine. And, you know, the old saying, good ain't good enough, that's definitely the case with Marcos, because this truck is a lot of people's dream just the way it is. This 68 Ford, it's already been to a restoration shop. I mean, somebody's already gone through this thing and put it back pretty much factory and original, which is great for us. Getting it in this shape, we only got to make it cool now. We don't have to go back and fix rust, you know, make panels line up. We're not concerned with that at all. We're just going to make this thing have the right stance, the right engine, and the right wheels and tires. Marcos is a car connoisseur. Good ain't good enough for him. He wants this thing immaculate, something cool, unique going down the road. We're going to take this 68 Ford and just make it a rolling piece of cool art driving down the road.
I saw Marcos pull up there.
Pretty much a perfect truck, right?
That's a really nice truck.
Real nice.
So true Marcos fashion. You're gonna take a truck that's already restored, already looks good, already runs and drives. He wants to cut it up, make it better.
That's it. This thing doesn't ride good, doesn't drive good. You know, it's got a nice V8 in this thing, but ain't no way.
Yeah.
Put a brand new Coyote in this thing, over 400 horsepower, just the engine. But then we're going to put a supercharger on it, too. You know that's what he's got to have.
So Marcos wants to go fast.
Right.
No.
You know, we're going to make a brand new chassis, bumper to bumper, all out of rectangle tubing. So it's going to be super rigid. This thing, I go through the corners, you know, like a race car.
Just getting rid of that front suspension is going to be a huge factor on this truck. This
thing's scary to drive at 80 miles an hour. You know, as far as the interior, it looks nice. It has that classic look, which he wants to keep, but just a couple of custom touches all throughout. I love the brown and green together, so we're going to keep that color inside, but we're going to recover the seat, add custom door panels, and new carpet in it. You know, of course, Texas, you got to have the AC in it too. Yep. And to give room for those big 24s that are on the back of these things, we're going to have to build big, tall wheel tubs and wide wheel tubs. So what we're going to do is raise the bed floor in it so it matches the interior.
Man, this is going to be like the grandpa that bought the truck brand new and took care of it all of his life and gave it to the grandson as a gift. And the next time the grandson comes to the house, it's laid out on the ground, big wheels, motor, all obnoxious.
That reminds me of me when I was 16. My dad gave me a good-looking, perfect truck, the 83 Chevy N86, and I just tore it up.
Oh, no.
So he was mad at me. He's still looking down mad at me on now. Y'all ready to make some grandpas mad?
Let's do it.
Ready?
First things first, this is what I want to do is unbolt the cab front end and pick it up off the chassis and just roll it completely out. We're not going to use any of that at all.
I just can't believe it's the last time it's going to be together. It being this nice. Man. Here we go.
Let's take the bed off.
Come on, Matt. Give us a hand.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Just take the bolt out? Oh, I see what it is. That's good, Tim. Basically because someone decided it'd be a good idea to weld the exhaust hanger to the bed structure. So when you're fabricating like an exhaust, you definitely don't want to put the hanger on the body. You want to go off the frames, because if you ever need to pull a bed, you'd have to cut the exhaust. But first cut, got that out the way. Let's get the bed off. Going down. 1, 2, 3.
Gotta go down.
Oh. for a moment? It's not all greasy, it's not all dirty. It's nice. That only took 10 minutes to destroy a classic truck. Your grandpa would be mad. Grandpa would be mad. It is what it is. On to the new life.
You know, other people's custom might look good from the top, but underneath, we got these have sheet metal screws running down through the bed, holding the wood down. It might look good from the top, but it's dangerous underneath this thing. Building a nice car isn't just, you know, what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside, what's underneath. You know, was feeling really bad about, you know, Marcos's truck looking really clean, really nice, really original, but that is definitely not the case. We're going to add a 5.0 Coyote to the 68 Ford Ranger. So we're going to build a custom chassis rigid enough to handle all that extra power. You know, in any project, you got to have this perfect platform. And that's exactly what we're doing, building a chassis for this thing. You know, this is going to be a major improvement for this old truck. The older chassis have a lot of flex and play, which, you know, adds to the longevity of the truck. This one isn't going to do that. We're going just total performance and ride quality on this. We're not worried about if the truck's going to work fine on the ranch 50 years from now. Not a concern. The very back with 8 inches, so it's a really weird shape. And if we're going to raise the floor up, might not do it like that. You know, normally when we build the frame back up over the axle and then back down to the bed floor. But in this case, we're going to raise the whole bed floor. So it kind of looks weird if we build the frame up and around and back down. We're going to have to build super tall bed mounts to come up and catch the bed. That's something we don't want. So a more custom look would just be the frame coming back, going up over the axle, and then straight back. It's just going to give us a lot more room underneath there, a lot more room for the fuel cell, suspension, all the air components, and give that bed a real custom look.
Now that Bill's figured out the way he wants to build this frame, it's time to start cutting it up. Basically what we're going to do is make this 2x4 frame continue up at a 45-degree angle into the 2x3 frame. Then the bed will sit right on top of this. The thing about this frame, it's going to have a big motor in this. We're going to lose a little bit of depth in the bed, but we'll have more room for the big fuel cell and a lot more rigid frame that'll support all the power we're going to put to those big wheels. Now we're going to come on the bottom side. We're going to use these tubes to brace the bottom. Hanging out that far, you kind of like a cantilever, and it'll kind of be trying to do this stuff when you put pressure. So what we're going to do, we're going to put some tubing here and go up into the frame. It's going to transfer all the weight into this tube here. You're not going to bend that frame. So the key here is form and function. We want to make sure everything works and it looks good. All these braces do something. What's happening, man?
Not much.
That's a good-looking truck. You know, it's always cool to get two old Fords at the shop at the same time. This 1975 Bronco has a classic design with flat windows and straight lines.
It's been through 2 ex-wives and still got hold on it.
Oh, yeah?
I got my Bronco back in 1990 and just been driving it and changing up ever since.
You know, it looks done. What do you want to do to it?
Well, you know, I got a little issue with the roof. This Texas heat is bad, and you know how it is when you're driving around, going to the beach or going to deer lease.
So you're just riding around and the sun just beating down on you. Man, you got such a good-looking truck. Then you get up to the top and you see that vinyl, you know, afterthought. We can definitely improve on that. Is there anything else you want to do this?
I got something else in the back I'd like to show you. It's this gap back here.
Oh, okay.
This doesn't look right to me.
You know what? Some of it probably look really good, even shortening the frame on this thing and scooting the bumper a lot closer too, and then the whole thing fit a little tighter.
That sounds great.
So what are you thinking inside here?
I need a console, so something more secure.
So you want a safe down in the console?
Yeah, if that's possible.
Oh yeah, that's it.
No, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to put a little hood scoop right here on this vent.
And there's a 5.0 in this thing?
Exactly.
Yeah, you definitely need a little more air to that thing, right?
Yeah, I think it's starving right now.
That's cool, yeah. Definitely handle that. You know, this Bronco looks really good. You can tell there's been quite a few things been done to it over the years, but, you know, just like any project, any custom car, there's always something else. Great looking truck.
That's what I like to hear.
Let's go make it happen. It's always nice when a customer keeps an old car alive. This thing's been around and around and around and around. It's been through many different hands, and it's good to see, you know, a customer really appreciate what they have and just, you know, keep adding. You know, that's what's cool about old projects like this, and, you know, an owner that has passion for these types of projects, you know, there's always something else to do to it. You check 10 things off the list, there's always 10 more things that you can do to it to make it even cooler. So now this Bronco's life is in our hands. I'm gonna get a few guys on it to really fab up some cool custom touches. I'm a betting man, so I bet this thing is gonna be back within a year with a whole new list of things to do to make this Bronco even cooler. What up, fellas?
Oh, what's up?
It's a good looking Bronco. Man, it is. It's cool. You know, this guy's had this thing for quite some time, you know, just adding and adding. It's been an ever-evolving project.
Man, that's the downfall of custom. It just never stops. It just keeps going and going and going.
Always something to do.
Always something.
You know, that's exactly what can really help him out. One of the things that isn't cool is the roof of this thing, right? This flimsy little makeshift roof isn't gonna cut it.
You do 70, 80 miles an hour on the road, that thing might slap you in the face.
Or fly off and slap somebody else behind you in the face. So, want to take this thing off and build, you know, a custom roof for this thing. And the other problem is when you go park this thing somewhere, there's no way to lock everything up. So he wants to be able to go into a store and leave whatever in it locked up. Guns, pistols, knives, you know. Whatever, he wants to be able to lock it up. So we need lockable storage for the console. And I don't know if you've seen on the back of this thing, it's got a big gap in between the bumper and the body. It doesn't look right. It's definitely not custom, you know. So we're gonna cut the back of the frame off and suck that bumper away in and make it look good. Make it look right. You know, one more thing he wants, just that one last thing you wanted, is a custom air intake on the hood. You know, something to grab that air and force it down into the engine. More air, more power. That's it. That's it.
It's never just one more thing.
Yeah, never. Oh, he's definitely going to be back with another list for sure. You know, after years in the Texas sun, we're going to get rid of that old vinyl roof. We're going to replace that with a whole new custom aluminum one.
What we've done so far is we've established the straight lines of where we're going to start breaking everything. We'll take these measurements, transform to the aluminum, mark out where everything needs to be, where the brakes need to be, and then we're going to start cutting.
Now we got our whole panel cut out. So what I'm going to do is just notch out the corners, what we don't need. We're going to take this over to the brake, bend those down 90 degrees, and then we can start forming our edges.
So now we have this up here where it kind of needs to be. We're going to make a front piece and a back piece.
Now we got this shape, how we need it to fit the windshield and the roof. I'm I'm gonna clamp this to the front of our roof, tack welded. Now I got this stitched up to the roof. Now we can make our corners. Man, this aluminum roof is gonna be a whole lot nicer than that rag top he had. You won't have none of that wind noise with it flapping while you're driving down the highway, or even out real handy in these Texas summers. Keep the whole interior of this truck in the shade at all times. Style and comfort. What more would you want?
Put a late model 5.0 in this 75 Bronco. Tim and John are going to make a custom air scoop to force that air right into the engine and look cool.
A little something like that, probably. Now, the purpose of making this out of chipboard and bending it the way I did is now I can lay this out flat on a piece of aluminum, cut it just like this, all out of one piece. These reference lines I got drawn out here, put this in the brake, bend it up about 60 degrees, and flip it over, and I should get the desired look I'm looking for, just like on the template. It looks good, but I think I need to adjust it where the top of it looks even with the windshield.
Yeah, you got the windshield lines going straight, and the hinge is straight. That's...
So if I make this side taller than that side...
Think you get it done next 5 minutes?
Sure. That's just one of those deals when you make something custom, you want it to look right. So we'll go trace this out on another piece and bend it the right way. You know, I didn't have to do this. It looked pretty good the way it was, but I'd really prefer it to look right instead of looking like it was droopy on one side of the truck. What's the extra little 10 minutes just to remake it a little bit taller and make it look right? That's what it takes to do the job right, folks. Just do it. How's that look, buddy?
That should do it.
Now you can see with a little extra time, now it all looks straight, matches the windshield real good. Now it's just time to weld the backside.
We're finishing up on the custom chassis and suspension on the 68 Ford Ranger. While we're doing that, John's getting going on the interior.
You know, the first thing that I saw when I walked up to this truck and I opened up the door and I looked inside was the instrument cluster. You know, that was something that stood out to me. Something about it, you know, the way they were set back and had the bar going across the middle of it. I'm going to take that idea and just kind of incorporate those lines and style cues into this door panel.
Take every bit of concentration and detail that we put into the big jobs. It's nice to sit back every now and then, take a deep breath and relax and make something like this. When we have our center bar, we'll have this separate from the door panel, so when this is all wrapped, we'll have all these lines still there instead of just one big blob. We'll make this trim ring removable and wrap it separately. That way it continues the lines that we're trying to keep in the door. So now we just take a little bit of body filler here. All right. So this is the factory door panel off the F100. So the next thing I'm gonna do, so I'm just gonna take my insert, get this thing mudded up, get it molded in, get it looking real good. Well, you know, we kept it nice and simple, so everything will have one nice cohesive flow. Now that I'm done with this, we'll have to wrap up the kick panels.
I gotta start using words like cohesive. Man, I like that word.
Cohesiveness?
Man, I like that.
You know, when you get bored and you want to read something, the dictionary is where it's at.
The back half of the chassis is mocked up with the correct wheelbase.
So I got the cross member in, got the height of the cross member correct where we need it at. Now we can start building the rest of the frame. This engine is so wide, I have to make sure I get the frame rails on the cross member wide enough for that engine to fit in there. I'll take the measurements off the frame, put them on the table, calculate what I need on this, and I'll take what I built on the table and put it on the frame. The cross member side is 3 inches tall, the frame side is 4 inches tall. So what I'm gonna do is slice this down on one end and make it taper. And I'll That's going to give us a 4-inch by 3-inch tapered tubing. So now with that slice we took out of there, all we gotta do is get one of these, tap it down, we can weld that back out, and then we got a taper. Well, there you go, 4-inch going down to 3-inch. Now we can fit this in the truck. Now we got these pieces connected to the back half of the frame. We can continue on to the front core support mount. Oh no, got a little damage on this front end here. This hole forward, this part should be touching this part. Look at the size of that gap. They did a repair to try to get this connected back to this, but they didn't pull it back to connect it. They just filled it in there. So I'm about to cut out this repair off that they did to close that gap up. Let's see if we can get this cut out.
Wouldn't you know it, John found some damage on the front end of the 68 Ford Ranger.
You know, whoever repaired this kind of had it figured out, but didn't put it back where it needed to be. We're about 3/4 of an inch off. This side's longer than that side. It has to be straight. So what I did is I hooked me a ratchet strap and I pulled it till we got this to touch. Now I pulled a measurement from the end of the frame to here, and we're right on the money. Now we could connect from here to there and tack it all in place. You ever work on a car, make sure you do it 100% because you never know what the next guy will find. There you have it. We got a complete frame, front to back. Now we're ready to put big end tires on the back for some traction.
It's going to be a fun one.
The owner, Dave, come with the list for a 75 Bronco, and we've been checking them off. We upgraded the stereo with modern marine-grade speakers to hold up in any weather. We cut the back of the frame and scooted the bumper a little more forward.
This Bronco is really limited on space, so we got this cool little safe here. Keep your wallet, sunglasses, maybe gun.
You know, we've added, modified a ton of things to this Bronco, and it was totally worth it. I mean, you're looking at it now from the way it was before, the thing looks good. But wait, one more thing, Bronco is finally done. Today's the day we're going to give it back. You know, I'm pretty sure he's going to customize this truck for the rest of his life, but once he sees this thing, I know he's going to be blown away. What up, man?
Not much, man. How's it going, Bill?
Man, real good. Good to see you today. Good day for you?
Oh, man, it's a fantastic day.
You know, you came into the shop, you had a couple ideas, and, you know, the list are. You ready to see all these check marks?
I sure am, Bill.
Let's check it out. Adrian, bring it on in.
Wow.
Looks cool, huh?
It looks fantastic. Man, look at that top. When that car came over the hill, man, I seen that top. It's a one-of-a-kind. No Bronco's going to have a roof like mine. Look at the scoop. That was a check off the list.
Right?
Wow. Look at those speakers, man. I can't wait to get in there and drive. Giddy up, let's go. This is exciting. Man.
Adrian, what's up, man?
What's up? What's up?
How's it going?
You know, Adrian's new to the shop. He's been watching this thing being built, and, you know, he's a Bronco enthusiast. He just had to come down and drive this thing.
It's not like a Ford Bronco, is it?
Yeah, man, Broncos have always been my favorite.
Can't wait to get in it and drive it myself.
One of the first things you see when this thing's coming down the hill at you is that little air scoop, right? Grabs that air and forces it down into the engine. Not only does its job, it lets people know you got something a little more than factory under the hood, right?
Exactly. Gives it that room.
The next issue you have was that old half roof you had. It didn't look real cool.
Didn't look cool at all, but that looks like over the top, man. And the way you mounted the light, it all matches. It all comes together perfect.
Lets everybody know you got something cool and custom going on there.
You know, from the roof all the way, sticking way out back. You know, John and Tim cut the back of the frame off and just sucked that thing all the way in, so it looks like it's supposed to be there now.
It's where it needs to be.
You know, that's the outside, but check out the inside.
Wow, man, you did hit it over the top.
Then you see new speakers up top. You got your 4 speakers in the back. The old stereo in this definitely wasn't going to cut it. But now, old Dave can drive down 80, 90 miles an hour and not have to worry about that wind noise. You can definitely hear this. And you finally got a place to put your gloves, too.
All right.
Lockable glove box, gun safe, lockable console. You know, your wife can put anything in there. You can put anything in the console and not have to worry about it.
Everything I'm seeing right now is just absolutely perfect. The roof, the lighting, the sound system. I can't wait to get on the road just to show it off. Man, it's fantastic. I can say she's truly completed now. But there's always another list.
You were just about to say that? I don't believe it. But as of right now, it's good.
I'm totally satisfied, Bill. You hit it right over the top.
Oh yeah, this is definitely not factory. This is why you can see all the screws underneath the bed. They're entirely way too long.
We're putting huge 24 by 15 inch wheels on the back of this 68 Ford Ranger. So Hugo's taking out the old bed floor. We're gonna create an all new one with huge wheel tubs.
All right, so we got the bed on the truck. Marcos wanted a flat wood floor. So we built a substructure. The wood's gonna sit right on top of this. Next thing we're gonna do is put the bed sides on here. Then we'll be able to come in and put the wheel tubs, everything else through the middle of it.
Because it's a really big 24 by 15 inch wheel we're using on the 68 Ford Ranger, Tim and John are adding some custom wheel tubs and adding more support to the bed.
Basically what we're doing right now is making sure the side's straight because it's sheet metal, and where the inside of this bed is factory, it could be like this. I mean, it's 1968. So right now we're taking a little extra precaution to make sure that when we weld it, it should stay straight.
Once we get all these tacked in place, we can start fitting our tubs in. What I'm doing here is measuring from the center line inches that way, 15.5 inches that way. I line that up there, and that's our cut line.
So in the back we're running a 24 by 15 inch wide. So to make that, we gotta make a tub that goes over a 24 by 15 inch wide tire. I'm gonna take a piece of chipboard and make me a template. Now we're gonna transfer this template to the sheet metal, roll it, put it on the tub. So what we wanna do is make this tub look like it's one piece, like it was never welded together. I'll jump around, tack it, and then grind it down. It look like one tub and it was never cut in half. Now you can start to see how big this tire is gonna be. Look at this is a tire. This is a tire. Then we start the long task of welding everything in, which is going to take a while.
The guys did a good job making the wheel tubs on this 68 Ford Ranger. Lewis is going to add the color match wood right into the beds.
So this wood is hardwood, it's ash. It's a really good stain grade wood to work with. And we're doing stain work, so sanding is going to play a very important part. We want to make sure that we keep a nice, even pressure and consistent speed. All right, so now we're gonna get this stain mixed up. We're gonna use basically primary colors to match this leather that we have picked out for the truck. I actually make my own stains. You know, I eyeball everything. Some people might do this on a scale, but my grandfather's taught me since I was a young kid. We just start with our primary colors and kind of adjust from there. So you can tell we're starting to get to that orangish color that we're looking for. I'm gonna darken it up, throw a little bit of brown in it, see how close we can get to that leather. All right, let's see where we're at. I think we're close. Okay, I think we're close enough now to where we can actually go ahead and start spraying it, and I can make my adjustments in the actual booth. We're a little light right now, so the beauty of this is we can keep going over it until we get a lot closer to this leather color that we're looking for. Badass on the truck. Hope Marcos likes it.
The hand-built chassis for the 68 Ford Ranger is back from powder. So now Tim and John are gonna put it together, make this thing a rolling chassis.
Want to check the engine on there first? That way I know how to run lines from there.
Let's roll.
All right, go up, go up.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand the amount of work when you build these new chassis, but the metal work's the easy part. Putting it flat on the ground like we're doing, you're limited in the amount of room, because steel to go in here, we have to put a bunch of brake lines, fuel lines, wiring harness, and a drive shaft. Everything's crucial. I mean, the exhaust is going to take up a huge part of this, so you can't get enough stuff close to the exhaust. It's going to get hot. You kind of got to pick your poison and pick out where you're going to put what first. And over time, we've just learned, placement of this or placement of that has worked best for us. So it was just all about space.
Looking good, Timmy.
Definitely looks different when it came in, huh?
Got you kicking ass on it for sure. Man, all the lines, everything looked real good. I mean, the hairline, the fuel line, it looks real good. Man, I love this wrinkle copper, especially with the...
Man, if you're happy with it, I'm ready to put it down.
Man, let's do this. John, one of the things I hate the most about custom work is, sometimes you run across a job that somebody else had already started and you run across somebody else's shoddy work.
I'm with you on that 100%. You're gonna sweep the floor, sweep it up right. Don't make you a pile and then brush it under the table, under a toolbox.
That ain't doing it. Somebody's eventually gonna find it.
The first thing you do when a car comes in is look at the chassis, look at the suspension, and there's some stuff that I wish I've never seen.
Right.
And you have to fix that too. Man, that's just
snowballs and just
sometimes you don't like what you're doing, but you have to do them, and you have to do them 100%.
Even if the person knows no one's ever going to see it, or maybe no one ever will see it, they know if the job's done right or not, right?
Yep. You know what you did, and we found it.
It's not every day we take a 68 Ford Ranger that's almost in perfect condition and make it even better. He's been building a garage for his cars, so he invited me over to come check it out, so I got a little garage warming gift for him.
Come on in. What you think, Bill?
Dude, this is a hell of a garage, Marcos. Marcos invites me into car paradise. This is every car guy's dream right here. One of the first things you do, you go down Lamborghini aisle. You got the McLaren, you got the Ferrari aisle. Man, leave it to Marcos to build a house for his cars, right next to his house. This is cool. This is just amazing.
This is phase 1. I'm doing phase 2. We got to add on that side.
Well, you know what? I got something that might fit really, really good.
What you got? You got a chair? You got a bar stool? Floor mat?
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, my God, Bill.
Coming outside and seeing that F100 for the first time.
That thing looks sick.
Right? You just can't go anywhere and buy one of these. He knows this is especially built for him.
Oh, my.
Is that low enough or what?
Dude. That thing is on the ground.
Late model 5.0 Coyote, supercharged. You're pushing about 750, 800 horsepower right now.
750, 100 horsepower on this thing, Bill? Wow.
It started out being a nice truck, right? It looked almost new.
Right.
But your bar is set really, really high. And we got to come through every time. Old motor, old trans, old end, old everything rolled right out the shop. Totally started over. We started out building a new chassis, front to back, all new suspension. Every part of this thing underneath is all handmade. Big 24 by 9s in the front, 24 by 15s in the rear.
Nice.
2 big wide black marks wherever you go.
That's what I like. I like the black mark.
Marcos, you pop that hood, you see that wrinkled copper powder coat. It just ties everything in together.
You know, it's all about the little details. They make customs, different from anybody else.
That's it, man. Check out this interior, man.
Holy crap.
John and the guys really got down and, built the kick panels.
I see that.
Carpet
Looks
in
good.
there.
Oh my God, look at the carpet.
Right? It looks good. Just ties everything together. Freshen up these door panels. Just brought in a little feel, but it looks custom.
The carpet, it was like, guys, you can see some of these cars that I got right here on my main cave. I don't even got the details that I got on this thing.
What do you think back here, Marcos?
Look at how wide these things are, dude.
This isn't just for looks either, Marcos. The wheel and tire itself is 16 inches.
Wow.
And to get this all the way on the ground, the wheel tubs come up that far. There's no exaggeration here. This is what you have to get this thing all the way on the ground.
It looks so smooth, so clean, like a piece of glass, like a piece of art.
Right? The wood that was in here, there was no saving that. We had to come in, put brand new wood. Still gives it that classic feel.
Right.
But that is nothing but custom.
It's amazing what you guys done on this thing, dude. I really appreciate that. The best thing about all this is that that it's all handmade. Every single detail that they did on this truck, it basically fits with that intention that it can make this thing one of the kinds.
You say you want a cool truck?
Oh man, this is it. That's exactly what I had on mine when I brought him to you, and basically you made my dream come true. I got really special place on my garage for.
I think every guy comes into work and busts their ass every day on Sunny Drive, makes things happen just like this truck right here, and I can't thank them enough.
Lift it up, I see air brake suspension.
That's the name of the game around here. Now we can really start letting the creativity and the fabrication all come together. Did a lot of work on this 2006 Kodiak already.
What else does he want now?
He wants to put an extra wheel and tire in the back.
One in the wheel is going to be a problem.
So the structure is going to be there. The flow, it's going to look like it was made like this.
Oh my God, Bill. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. We just got a pretty cool 71 Suburban out in the lot. I owned one of these things for a short period of time, and, I miss it. I'm definitely attracted to this car. Good looking truck.
What's up, buddy? What's up, man?
It's endless possibilities what you can do this old Suburban. I've seen them way high, seen them way low. So whatever the owner Ronald wants to do this thing, I know it's going to be cool.
Is that truck you're telling me about from Maryland?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Man, it looks 4x4. Is it true 4x4?
Yeah, it is.
Man, it's cool. What are we doing to it, though?
Man, I don't know. And I got to get on a Zoom call and see what he's got going on.
He just bought it and said I'm shipping it, huh?
It's here for a reason. About to go find out.
Let me know what he says.
Ronald, how you doing?
Doing good, Bill, man. Excited.
Just got that Suburban in, man. That thing it's nice.
It's cool, but it needs to be a little bit cooler.
Oh, definitely.
It needs a touch. You've seen it. It needs some loving.
So, it's here. What are we doing?
I see it lifted up. I see air brake suspension, new tires. I see it pulling a nice airstream down the road and looking just incredible.
Heck yeah.
It's four-wheel drive, so I'm not the kind of guy, I don't like going low, but I do want it to go up a little bit, and I want the stance to be cool.
So you're maybe something worth aired up from there?
Maybe a little higher than where it's at right now. Does that sound like it'll work?
Absolutely.
I just want it to blow people's minds when it's riding down the road.
That's the name of the game around here.
Whatever you can do, get that thing right. It's going to be a camping vehicle. I'm going to ride it. This thing ain't going to sit in the garage the rest of its life. It's going to be out there riding around.
I love hearing this. Not only get to build a cool truck with cool suspension, it's also going to be on the road and actually being used on a daily basis. What I see on this thing is just taking out the old suspension and just putting brand new 4-links front and rear on this thing, lifting this thing up and just riding with air suspension incorporated. You just want something that when you're driving down the road with that travel trailer behind you, people beside you can just see the moving parts of the suspension.
I want them to be able to see it.
Yes. Yep. New wheels and tires on this thing, some nice shocks, big brakes. That's going to be a good looking cruising truck, especially with your trailer behind it.
Maybe even put a little music in it too. I want to, it doesn't have to be crazy loud where, I'm waking up the trailer park. I want a little bit of sound coming out of that Suburban. So
you got it, man. We're going to take care of this thing for you.
I want this thing to be beautiful. It might be a second trip, after you get this done. I don't know.
Absolutely. Phase 1, no problem at all. We can get this thing on the lift, get it tore apart, and get that new suspension built. At any point, you can bring it back, and then we'll start phase 2 to take it to that next level.
Sounds good.
We love working with our customers, no matter, if it's a one lump sum build or if it's spread out over many different trips. If it goes and comes and goes and comes and goes and comes a few times, it doesn't make any difference to us. We'll be there all the way of building their dream truck.
I'm ready. I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, so.
I'm really excited on this thing. This thing's going to be really, really cool, and I can't wait to get going.
You think you're excited?
Man, we'll talk to you real soon.
All right, sounds good, Bill.
All right, bye. These 6th generation Suburbans are really popular and really sought after. It's unique. It's something you don't see every day. This truck's going to be built in phases. No problem. Who knows how many phases this thing's going to go through, but the first phase is always the most critical. That's when you really get the creativity started. You build upon that creativity and it leads to a bigger, better product. Once you put the shoes on, you're like, man, I need some new pants. And then you put the new pants on, you're like, gotta have a new shirt. You gotta make the whole outfit complete. That's what we're gonna do right here is just customize this thing step by step, piece by piece, till this thing looks 100% and 100% custom. What's happening? Man, it just so happens I'm looking at it right this minute. Ronald was clear from the beginning. There's going to be many times he's going to add to the build. I just thought it would be after we finish the first phase. We got plenty of room in the back of this thing to do whatever we want to do. So the interior is something we could really focus on a lot to really make it comfortable, for you guys for sure. And to be something to show off. All right, man. Thanks a lot. We'll take care of it for you.
What's up, man? Finally got the Suburban in the shop?
Yeah, man.
Cool. Do a little audio in it? Get this thing in and out?
Well, that was the plan. The little audio. That's not the plan now.
Plans changed.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with the owner. And, I guess he slept on it a little bit. He got bit by the bug. He wanted a little upgrade.
Well, we've got a lot of real estate in here to upgrade.
Man, there is. There's a lot of room in here.
Well, sometimes it's easier to just do it all at one shot than having to go back and forth with it. It's like, it's there, just do it.
Right. First thing we're going to do, new interior. Everything in this thing, we're going to change. He wanted new audio, but now he wants new seats, headliner, door panels, and even more audio.
Sure we can make something like that work out.
I know we can. The next step, we're taking it over to the fab shop and cutting everything out from underneath this thing. It's going to look way, way, way better. We're giving it a nice lift with air suspension on it, big 4-link, 40-inch tires, new rims, big brakes. it's going to have an aggressive look coming down the road. We want this thing to look just mean.
Okay.
When he opens the doors, I want it to have that same aggressive look too.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Basically, take the same ideas that you have going on underneath it, keep those ideas flowing, and put something in here that just says, I'm here, and get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I got my laundry list of work to do, so let's get to it. All right, I'm gonna start with getting the seats out. You know, the idea behind and use it and drive it, not just make a showpiece out of it. We still want to have something that's going to be functional. So keep those things in mind as we go, and we'll start making something cool. One of the things I enjoy about watching a guy get excited when we're building their truck, you know, first when it gets here, they're a little setback, a little reserved, don't want to do too much, take their time, do it in stages. And once it gets here, they get thinking about it, they get all itchy. Next thing you know, here we go. Full builds every time. There's your original color. Seafoam green, I guess is what you would call it. As hard as they try when they do a color change in a car, it never fails. Somewhere you're going to find hints of the color. There it is. For now, I'm going to start with the subwoofer enclosure. That way I know I've got to have that space. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then we'll start making all the panels to make it look good. So what we'll do is we'll take this bottom piece first and just start drawing out around all the pieces until this fits back where we want it to. Then we'll start building it up. Nice fit. You know, it's just like a big puzzle, one piece after the next. Make a piece, cut it, fit it, glue it. Just work it as you go, especially when you're trying to fit into these really tight spaces like this. It's kind of hard to map out and build on a table, so you're just back and forth building it. Right. So what we're going to do next is take some body filler, use that as a sealant to make sure that the box is nice and airtight, and then we're going to go back over top of that with some fiberglass chop strand to give it the strength that it needs so we know it's going to stay together and stay sounding good. All right. Box is fitting great. The next step is going to be to build the recessed baffle that's actually going to hold the subwoofer. So what we want to do is we're going to recess them back inside this enclosure about 4 inches. So you won't even hardly see them. They're going to set so far back in here. So to do that, what I'm going to do is a little bit of stack fab. Basically take and just stack up a bunch of layers of MDF until I get it back to where I want it to be. We'll get it attached to this thing, and this box will be just about done. So what I did to get the angles and stuff on the baffle is I just kind of went off of the angle of the back door. The back wall has an angle to it. We got the same angle on the box, so we're just going to kind of follow that angle forward just so everything flows together. There's exactly what we're looking for.
Estate inside this 1971 Suburban, especially when bigger boxes in the back. He's going to move on to the door panels.
So what we're doing now is we're just making all the parts and the pieces for the door panel. Since we have 4 doors, all of them are going to be the same. So once we make one, just repeat it, duplicate it, mirror image it on the router. That way we can set them all up and work on them all at one time and get the process done a little bit faster. We got the bottom section where the speaker's going to go. What I want to do is I'm going to take this top line here, instead of it being just flat, I'm going to put a curve to it, and then I can round it over. It just takes the blockiness out of it and just gives it some character and some life instead of just being stuck on the door and flat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this scoop bit on the router to give the inside opening a profile and the outside edge a profile. Once that's done, then we can take it apart, put it on the machine, and reshape it and give it a whole completely different look. Sometimes in order to make the ideas and designs in my head, I have to make a one-of-one tool. So I went ahead and made my own jig, my own sled here that's going to create an arc in this piece that is going to give it some dimension and depth. It's a little bit extra work, a few extra steps to take, but that little extra touch really, really stands out, puts the craftsmanship into it, and really, really makes something that's one of a kind. All right, so you can see this one, it has shape to it and dimension in both in this direction and in this direction. The next thing to do, attach it to its base. This thing's ready to do some body work. I've
done similar things to this once or twice before, but you know, every time you do it, it's always something different, which really is what makes it so much fun. That's what I enjoy about it. I like the creative part of it and the problem solving. You can kind of see the whole door panel starting to come together here, all the pieces. We'll have our speaker set down into this pocket here, and then we'll have our armrest up here.
You know, in the custom car game, no matter what the customer's original checklist is, there's always one more thing. Always. You know, sometimes we get a project in, you know, it just needs that last final touch to make it 100% complete. You know, we always want to accommodate, but that's one of the challenges of owning a custom shop, just making the customer happy. We did a lot of work on this 2006 Kodiak already, and we were about to ship it out. Then the owner called me up. He just wants to do that one more thing.
One last look before it goes home, or what?
Man, it'd be nice if it was going home, but, you know, the world of custom, it's always that one more thing, right?
Huh. What now? Yeah.
You know, this Kodiak rolled in pretty good condition. We built custom air suspension, made a new front bumper, made new running boards, added a new grill, added headlight conversion, new wheels, tires, and painted the whole truck silver.
What else does he want now?
Well, he wants to put an extra wheel and tire in the back. You know, one that matches the ones that are on the truck, mounted back here in the bed.
Mounted down flat, up, or how you want to?
You know, I don't know yet. I'm going to get it in the shop and kind of play with it, see what looks good, what looks cool. So I'm thinking probably mounted 30 degrees or so, mounted up close to the tank, you know, something so if you're looking down on the bed, you can see it, but not something that sticks up over the top of the bed rails.
All right.
That's what he wants. That's what he's getting. We'll get with Max, see if you can get one. I don't even know if you can just get one, huh?
I hope. I'll go get Max figured out.
Yeah, night. We've done a lot of Kodiaks over the years. The medium duty platform is just great to work with. You know, it's different from every other thing on the road, and that's what the customer wants when they bring these things in. It's just one of one, something that nobody's seen before. You know, we've done a lot of work to this big old Kodiak, a lot, but for a thing, we got to make it happen. You know, sometimes when a customer comes up with a last minute idea, you know, they haven't been around for the whole creative process. So incorporating their last minute idea into a project that's already been built, there's a few little challenges comes with that. You just don't want a little spare tire stuck in the back. It looks like a sore thumb just out of the blue. You want something that just all flows together and look like it was all thought about from the very get-go.
Yeah, man. Yep, I can have another 2 days, that's no problem.
You know, Max has been a really great addition to Extensive. He's been running point on sales and parts. And he's got a real knack for finding things that are really hard to get. Like one custom dually wheel for the Kodiak.
Have a good day. All right. Hello, Timmy. Just the person I need to see. Uh-oh. I need a favor.
Well, what kind of favor?
I need another wheel.
For
Kodiak.
You have 6 wheels.
I thought the truck was done. Bill walked out there and did the old pat on the shoulder and told me we had added some more stuff.
Okay.
The guy wants to be able to travel across country and he wants a full-size spare.
We're in a shop where we do higher caliber builds. Parts, everything's usually custom made, so we have to fabricate them here, or we have to source them from the right people to get them on time. So 4 wheels, not a problem. 6 wheels, definitely not a problem. 1 wheel is going to be our problem.
It's not my problem, buddy. That's yours.
Thanks, Timmy.
You know, there's no such thing as a stock 7th wheel mount, so we got to make one. We got to make this 7th wheel mount rigid enough to hold this big, heavy wheel. We got all of our pieces cut. We should have all of our angles right, so we got our spacer that simulates the angle of the wheel. We got our smaller spacer in the back, so we got a little tilt to the wheel. So when you look down into the bed, you'll be able to see that nice displayed wheel. So I'm gonna start putting the pieces together real quick. We'll tack it all up and we'll see if it fits. you always start out with the vision that you have in your head of the basic idea.
Top needs to go back.
You know, once you start building it, you don't want to get dead set in your ways. You want to improve every time you build something. So even if it's something to just building a wheel holder, you always want to think of different ideas. And you know, usually those ideas keep us way behind schedule. Let's put another tack on this. You know, mounting a 7th wheel in this 2006 Kodiak isn't what I call a common request, but that's what makes it fun coming to work in the morning. You know, making the unexpected look like it should have came like that from the beginning. Let's unclamp this thing, see if it fits in. So we got to cut that off so it don't hit the wheel, huh? Just mark with a soapstone, and we'll just weld it up and grind it from there. Looks good, man.
Yeah, come out nice.
I mean, it's got some strong mounting points on it. It looks good. Man, this thing's going to last forever.
Yep, no doubt.
We want that big, heavy wheel on this thing, shaking, going down the road. You know, start fatiguing everything if it wasn't built super strong, and that's what we got. So, looks good. It's clean, strong. Go. Let's do it. All right. While John and his team are finishing up the interior, we're rolling the 71 Suburban right into a bay so we can get started on that brand new custom air suspension lift.
So we finally got this old Suburban inside the shop. We're gonna take it and break it down. We're gonna take everything off of it that's on there. Take all the suspension out from under it, shocks out, axles out. We're gonna get it up as high as we can, make it look really aggressive, have some fun. So the advantage to working on an older vehicle is that they're a lot more simple. The disadvantage is everything's froze up and a lot harder to get off and loose. If you've got the right tools, some rusty parts won't stop you. Finally got the front off, completely disconnected, all the hardware and everything disassembled. Time to move on to the back. This drive shaft's reusable, so it can actually be shortened or lengthened because it's welded. We're going to keep this slip yoke for this transmission and hook.
Let's put it on here first.
All right.
Now we can take it up there and pick it up, put it on this.
Sweet. Thank you, sir. All right, so we finally got everything off the truck. Front axle, rear axle, all the suspension parts. We can bring in all the new stuff, and we can get this thing up in the air where we want it.
We tore out all the old suspension and cleaned up the stock front and rear axles. So now Jamie and I can start mocking up the air suspension. Whoa, that's probably pretty good, huh?
Uh-huh.
What we're going to do with this thing is an air suspension lift. Okay. It has some nice airbags on this thing, nice shot, big 4-lane.
Oh, yeah.
So first things first, let's get the rear end located with the air deflated. Okay. And once that's located, we'll weld a pipe down to the axle so it can't go anywhere. Okay. Drop it down a little bit. You know, this thing's going to have a big 40-inch tire, but he's also wanting to tow his camper with this thing too, so we can't just go crazy and just make it way off the ground. We want this thing to have a low stance and also be able to air this thing up and get it way off the ground and just be really aggressive. Get it bolted up real quick and point it at it, you know, try to get it 0 degrees here. Pretty close.
These old Suburbans are unique. You don't see a lot of them on the road anymore. Everybody wants a short wheelbase, you know, fleet side, but not too many people build these Suburbans. That in itself is pretty cool. I mean, think about during the flood, how many people would have loved to have one of these and put all your stuff in it, not get nothing wet. I mean, it's got multiple uses for something like this. I'm actually looking forward to building it.
Scoot it back a little bit. Let's see what you got from center to here.
20 1/4?
That's on the money, 20 1/4. So we got everything 100% level, 100% true, square. The rear end is located exactly where this thing needs to be. So now we can start building our 4-link from the axle all the way up to the frame. Man, we can run a string line.
I think I can shoot one straight all the way back, right underneath the axle.
Let's just drop this thing down. Then we can hold a string line here to the center of the axle and get it parallel with the frame. Then we can measure it right down here to the center of the string. So we know center to here where our measurement's at. Let me hold this real quick. Go down, Tim. A lot more of the front axle is to get it perfectly level with the back. So when you let all the air out of the suspension, this truck still sets level, even though there's, no air in it. And then you air it up from there. Then you got a perfectly level truck as it's going down the road.
Like I'm kickstarting a Harley over here.
Looks good, huh?
Yeah, everything, both axles are right where they need to be.
Man, perfectly centered, perfectly level, and at the perfect height with everything all bottomed out. We can get busy building.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready.
We've lined up the front and rear axles on this 1971 Suburban for our custom lift. And now we can get to building it. One of the major pieces of a custom lift like this is the hanger. The hanger needs to be super strong, and it serves many purposes of locating where the pivot points are in the suspension so everything articulates and flows together, rides right, doesn't bind the drive shaft up. There's a lot of importance in locating the hanger in the right place, and the distance in between the two pivot points, that reacts, driving on the road 90 miles an hour versus off-road. There's a lot of little intricacies in building a hanger like this, and you gotta add some style to it too and make it cool. The next step is just going to burn the hanger pieces out. What up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Here we go, man. So I need to build these hangers. So make these at 1/4 inch so they're super strong, and we'll box it all in.
I got it. So I took this, drew my box, got my measurements. Now it's time for the computer to do its thing. Okay, now I'm just cleaning up these rough edges, punch these holes out, and take it over to build.
Okay, so I got the base of the hanger Jesse just brought back over. So I'm gonna go ahead and mock everything up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my plates to box everything in to give it the strength. It's real early in life my grandfather had given me. Then I went to taking stuff apart, like everything. I remember my mom bought me an RC car. For the world of me, I thought, I'll just put a vacuum cleaner motor on it and it'll work. That never went back together. The vacuum or the car. So from basically being young to taking things apart to being older now to taking bigger things apart, some things just don't change. Alright, so now that I got these two pieces on the side right here, I'm gonna go ahead and weld all on the inside right here. So that way to be as strong as possible, I have a weld on the inside and a weld on the outside. Okay, so basically right now I made some gussets right here. This is pretty much the last piece to be able to mount this on where it's solid. Alright, so got all these welded up, all the gussets done. So this is ready to go up underneath the truck and we'll just keep going.
We got our hangers made. The next step on getting this bad boy all the way up and down is building the 4-link from the hangers all the way back to the rear end. We're making our 4-link bars, so we want everything 100% true, square, both sides. So what we're going to do is make a little parts to be exactly the same length. So when we mock up one side, we're going to use the bars to mock up the other side. So our bracketry, everything is 100% true and identical. Okay,
Okay, so I got the link bars welded up. Everything's cleaned off of them. Now it's time to go ahead and bolt them up. Get them on the truck.
We got our bars 100% true with each other off our jig. By using the 4-link bar, that tells us exactly where our mounts are. So everything else is 100% square. So that lines all the bars, all the brackets, everything up 100%. Now all we got to do is tack it on and keep rolling.
See, I got both the upper and lower link bars on. Everything looks parallel. Everything's bolted up. Like the way it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the rear now.
The 7th wheel hitch is back from powder coat on the 2006 Kodiak. We're just missing the 7th wheel and tire. And then this extra large build will be ready to go home.
Hey, Val. One wheel, one tire, mounted balance, ready to go.
How'd you do that?
Very carefully. Yeah, called in a few favors, but we got what we needed, so.
All right.
Heads up, it's heavy.
All right.
Going from point A to point B is not always a straight line. You know, there's always obstacles, and, you know, we just have to find the part, because when they come in and say, hey, Max, I need the part, that's what I do. I find the part. See how much bigger than you are.
It's almost as big as me.
Always loved Kodiaks. Goes all the way back to 2006 when I had my own. You know, I love driving that thing. I love just the girth of the truck and just being different from everyone else. So when this truck showed up, showing its age, I knew exactly what to do to make this thing 100% right. What's up, Vinny?
What's up, Bill?
How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Beautiful day to get a Kodiak back, huh?
Yes, sir. I've been waiting. I can't wait.
I know, man. I'm really excited. Man, you came in, this thing, it was hurt.
Yeah, it needed help. It's an iconic truck, but it needed a facelift. That's why we brought it to you. Purchased the Kodiak about 6 years ago. We tried to do a little stuff ourselves to get it to ride better and look a little bit help. I ran into a guy at a show in Arizona who told me to take it to Texas. That's why I said, take it to Texas. And we hauled us out here.
That big truck just commands attention when it drives up. Maybe a little unwanted attention in some areas.
Attention in the wrong spots. Put it that way, yes, sir.
Man, we addressed all those things. We got this thing looking good, riding good.
I just can't wait. Let's do it.
Man, I'm ready too, man. Jamie, come on with it.
Oh my God, Bill. No way. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Yeah, the headlights, the grill. That is bad. I love it. It don't look old anymore.
No.
Oh my gosh. Woo. It looks like a totally different truck. I don't even know where to start.
Hey, I told you we got you, man.
I know. Hey, I believe you, but now I really believe you. That's crazy. Oh my God, yes. That's what I'm talking about. Woohoo. That's so cool. Oh man, it's over the top.
What you think?
I like it.
What up, man?
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know what to say. Takes my breath away. It's awesome.
Vinny, you see this thing pull up, it commands attention.
Yes, sir.
Right? From the new headlights, stretch bumper, new grill, running boards on this thing, fresh coat of paint all the way through it.
All manuals are sick.
Drop low to the ground.
Yeah.
Totally changes the whole stance.
I don't even know there's enough words to say how excited I am. It's sick.
Man, I appreciate that. I think so too, man. I mean, it's something we're definitely proud of.
Oh, yeah.
It looks cool, man.
Yeah,
it's a cool truck.
Absolutely.
I got one more surprise for you.
Oh, okay.
Check it out.
All right. Oh, man, Bill. That's awesome.
I know you wanted something back here to show off your other wheel, and, you know, you never know. You might have a flat, right?
1,200-mile drive. I want to make sure I'm safe. Don't want to take no chances.
That's it, man.
So this is the first 7th wheel I've seen. Man, Bill had a great idea how to recess it in the hitch. Go ahead and tie it in the toolbox, make it kind of look like it's floating. Man, it came out awesome.
Good job. You guys killed it. Nice.
Appreciate it, man. I love when we get these trucks in the shop, you know, bringing them back to life, you know, making an older truck look brand new. Doesn't get better than that. The 4-link is done on the 1971 Suburban's custom lift. So now we can get to building the bag mounts, the point off of which the airbags will attach. Turn it all the way one way and then back to where you're at, and then all the way the other way and back to where you're at. One last thing we got to do
before we build the lower bag mounts is our steering. So we need to build our steering cross-link and have all that, the steering and the lower bag mount, and plenty of room for the bag itself. So last thing we want to do is build this thing again.
Okay, so we got the steering, everything's hooked up, everything looks pretty good, everything moves freely. So it looks like we have enough space for the bag bracket right here, so I'm going to go ahead and start making these right now. All right, so my process is doing a bunch of bag mounts. Basically, my first thing is I'm going to get all my material cut to length I'm going to need, and I always cut a little over because you're going to trim back and cope everything. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking off little bit by little bit until it fits, and to make sure that the bends are all in the same place, they're all coped on the axle the same height, and everything's even underneath the back plate. It's a lot of cutting, grinding, coping, but once it's in, it's in.
Man, Jamie, it looks really, really good. We got a nice foundation. Now we can really get down to business and really start letting the creativity and the fabrication all come together and make something really cool. The owner of the Suburban wants to be able to haul a trailer with the lower bag mount to the frame to hold all that trailer weight. I just made a quick little template from the other side, my center punch holes, so we can duplicate this side so everything's 100% same. You know, once we had the center punches on both sides, we can drill our holes and then bolt our upper bag mount mounts right to the frame and then build our bag mounts right down to the back. Jamie's rolling some pipe, then we're gonna chop it up and then get it fitting.
Okay, so you can see, basically I'm running these pipes in at the same time. Each one I do the same way, so I have the same bend right in here. If I was just to hit the button down, it would be all kinked, and if I just did one, then did the other one, it wouldn't be any good. So this is just the way to do it properly, is go ahead and just do each one. Every time I drop the machine down, I'll run another piece of suit to make a nice circle on them. So you just gotta do it over and over again. Patience, you know, slow and steady wins the race. All right, so basically I'm trying to make a perfect circle so I can cut this and use each side for each one of these to be the same radius to the bag mount. So when you do look at it, it's gonna be perfectly the same. It's really important, you know, for it to look right, because otherwise it's really gonna draw your eye if it doesn't flow with everything else. Not only does it need to look right truck, because all the air is on this bag, so this is gonna be basically holding up this axle. So the structure is gonna be there, the flow is gonna look like it was made like this. So people that know about custom cars, welders, fabricators are definitely going to notice how much fabrication time went into something like this, putting this together. It's something I really look for and appreciate when I see it in other builds.
The cool thing about this, you know, you can get lifts done anywhere, but none of them look like this. I mean, this is our cool little signature stamp on this thing is, you know, not only riding good, handling good, but to have the styling of the bent pipe. You know, that's one thing that sets this thing apart from all the others on the road.
Hey, what's up, buddy? It's Max over at Extensive. One of the toughest things about this job is managing all the builds going on at the same time. I'm in kind of a bind and I need some help. If you're not highly organized, it'll pile up on you and you will crash and burn. My love for cars came at a young age. When I was young, I got magazines that had all the custom cars in them, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, that they always cut them up and, you know, change stuff, and I was always about that. I've been in the automotive industry for probably, and then got into the custom car game, and I got the opportunity to come down here. So picked up family, moved to Texas, and the rest has just been great. Yeah, man, no, I really appreciate it, man. You're helping me out a ton. What I like about working at Extensive is the camaraderie of everybody that works here. We're all here to build cool stuff. We're all on the same agenda, and the energy here is really, really cool. It's a fast-paced shop, but I'm a fast-paced kind of guy, so we mesh really well.
Now that the custom lift's back from powder coat and installed on the 71 Suburban, John can take all the handmade pieces and start wrapping.
You know, looking at this door panel, everything's working out really good. I got it nice and deep inside the pocket. I got one more little trouble spot to work out. We'll be home free. All right. Looks like luck might be on our side today. Next thing we gotta do, finish wrapping that around. Then we'll go over everything, hit it with some heat, get it warmed up. This thing's gonna look beautiful. Put a little bit of vinyl down in the bottom of that hole, and then put it on.
You know, with over 10 feet of cabin space, John and his team have a lot of wrapping and installing to do. It's just like Christmas. Headliner, seats, new audio. Well, at least for now. I know when Ronald sees this truck, he's going to be blown away. I mean, it's just such a huge transformation. What's happening, Ron?
What's going on, Bill?
Long trip, huh?
It was a long trip, man, all the way in from Maryland.
Man, it's good to have you down. It's good to, I guess, to finally meet you in person.
I'm glad to be here, man. Excited to see this truck. Flew out here to Extensive today, and I've really been anxious to see this truck, and all my friends know I'm driving everybody crazy. So I'm really excited to get in this thing and just drive it as much as possible.
Ron, I know, you bought the truck on the internet, right?
Yeah, I did.
It wasn't really quite what you wanted, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
So that's why we're here.
That's right, man. It needs some loving.
You wanted something that rode really nice and looked cool when you're pulling your travel trailer.
I wanted it better than it was.
It's more than a little better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Way more than a little better.
I'm sure it is. I can't stand it right now, man. I'm ready.
Let's check it out.
Let's bring her out. Yes, sir. Look at this.
What you think, man? Mean coming at you, doesn't it?
Mean ain't the word for it. Look at this thing. This is beautiful. Yeah. Woo! Nice. She is sitting on those tires, man. That is insane. Oh my God.
Looks a little different, doesn't she?
She looks a whole lot different. I am slammed. This is everything that I imagined. I mean, this is just phenomenal, man.
You haven't seen another 3-door looking like this?
Never, no. You can go online and never find one like this.
That's right.
This is it.
I'd cruise that one for sure.
Definitely.
That's a highway runner.
Oh, I can't wait, man. We're going to use it. It's not going to sit in a parking lot somewhere. This is going to be on the road, and it's going to be going.
Where it needs to be.
And everybody's going to be looking. It's going to be turning heads, man.
The first thing you see of the wheels and tires and that big suspension underneath of it. Got to work building you a cool custom 4 links front and rear.
The size of all that tubing, I mean, it's incredible. The strength you put underneath there. I see it. I mean, you can't miss it. It's beautiful. I love the wheels. Perfect choice, man.
Yeah, man, that thing looks good. Really, really good. I mean, it's something we're definitely proud of.
Oh, yeah, the stance, the size. When you see it coming at you, it says, get out the way.
That's right. Yeah, man, the stance on it is killer. It's mean.
That's what you want, right?
Yeah, man. It's everything I wanted. I love it.
Pretty okay.
That's pretty okay.
John, let's let him check out the inside.
All right, let's check this out.
Oh, look at this, man. Oh, God, you killed it.
John and the boys always kill it on interiors. Always.
I know that's right, man.
Yeah, so we just went through everything, from top to bottom. New carpet, redid the seats.
That's right.
Redid the door panels. Got all that brown in there. We pulled the pleats into the doors to match the seats. We went ahead and did the headliner, put some lights up in there so you got some mood lighting when you're cruising down the road.
There you go.
New radio in the dash, new system all the way around, subwoofer enclosure in the back. Everybody will hear you coming too, so.
I don't see me coming before they hear me.
That's questionable.
Yeah. Oh, man, you guys blew it out of the water. This is phenomenal, man. I mean, it's going to go a step further because it's coming back to you, and you're going to do some more work to it. But for right now, this is headed in the right direction.
Ron, getting projects like this in, it wakes everybody up, it reignites everybody's fire, gets that passion going again, and just the creativity just really starts flowing, obviously.
Yeah. This is my first project car, and I'm hooked, man. I mean, hook, line, and sinker. It's contagious, but, I want to see this thing go as far as I can take it.
Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, however you want to do it.
I'm stoked.
I know you can say Phase 1 was a complete success. All right, Ronald, enjoy this truck. I'm sure I'll be seeing you real soon for Phase 2, so come on with it.
Cut $10,000 off this truck. Oh, you didn't just bring more wiring over here.
Size-wise, this 2019 Polaris is a small vehicle for us, but it's got some big issues.
Heck, having this thing,
Man, this thing was in a tornado. Anything we can do to help you, man, and help your granddaughter, you know we're in.
If this ain't hooked up correctly, nothing's gonna work.
Oh, no way!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, what better way to have a little family bonding than having your kids help you pet up a car? And before I send this thing off to get scrapped, I figured I'd give my kids a little lesson on how to use some tools to cut some metal.
I never really use, like, tools like this. Like, I mean, it's not that bad, except for it's just, like, you know, pumping my arms out, but that's all right. It's a good workout, and I really like working out, so I guess it's fine.
Couple little more pieces, the whole roof's gonna be off. Go out on your side. Got it? Yep. What do you think?
Heck.
First convertible? Yes.
It's a good family day. We cut up the car, and so now we're just gonna have some fun.
Test it out.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Cleve at? Cleve! Come on! Come on! You know, I can't really tell you personally how many donuts I've done in this parking lot. You know, maybe 1 million or so. You know, but this is Cleve's first, and he seemed really happy to be here. Seeing this thing in a stage like this, it finally feels like this thing's coming together. You know, after being so long just a cab on the lift, feels like we're getting some things done. It's been a lot of hard work. You got that right. I mean, just getting this thing apart's a lot of hard work. Yeah. We're months into making this 2020 Denali 3500, one of the first ever body drop in the world. The owner wants to haul some of his other show cars with it to SEMA. So we had to put more engineering into this thing to make it perform even better than he wants. With a body back on the frame, it looks like we're almost done. But I can tell you, we're a long ways away.
Oh, Lord, what are you guys trying to pull a house or something? That's serious.
Damn right it is. I mean, this transfers all the weight from a trailer. Sometimes it could be 20, 30,000 pounds of stopping and starting. Goes to this right here.
So we can put a house on there.
Absolutely. Just from the start of this, get it on the lift and tearing it apart was a major job. You know, laying the chassis out, building the chassis on the table, getting the frame underneath this, you know, rear suspension, just to get to this stage is huge amount of labor.
I know.
This is not just double work or triple work. It's not even quadruple. What's after quadruple?
A lot.
The finishing work on a build like this is always the hardest part. It's a huge build, but the small details, they take a lot of time. Now that we got the foundation, we can build the front suspension and huge wheel tubs to tuck those big old 28-inch wheels. Color match the frame and plastics, create a fully articulating speaker system in the bed, and finding space to put everything back together under the body. And that's rewiring, reconnecting, rebuilding, making this truck 100% brand new again, just like it is. We got a lot of work done, but there's still a whole lot of work to do and a whole lot of parts to order. So let's get to it.
Let's get it.
At this stage of the build, it's all about making room underneath the body to cram everything back in. So Tim and John are getting started to make room for these big old wheels.
The name of the game is bigger the wheels, the lower to the ground. And you know as well as I know.
Most important thing,
the brake
system.
We're not going to cut the factory fender tabs off. We're going to use those to line everything back up. That way it'll look factory from the outside, and it'll keep all the factory gaps exactly the same. We're going to build back a support with some DOM. We need something that's going to keep all these tabs 100% where they're at, and keep this where it's at. Because then the fender will bolt right back up here, and all this will gap back perfect, the hood will shut perfect, everything will stay right.
I've seen a lot of custom builds where they made something look good, but later on down the road, it just didn't hold up. Yeah, so we got to fit it down now. We got to have form and function, stability. What good is a cool car if you can't drive it down the road safely? Pretty damn good.
That's going to work. That clears the hinge, clears the hood, supports that.
Clears the gas shock too, so we don't have to mess with that.
I think everything's going to be perfect.
I'm welding the fender tabs right to the support to keep everything in line. Now we got our new support in there. We can remove all of this to get our new big wheel in there. There you go. Starting to see this thing getting put together and starting to look like a whole truck again.
You see the door gap, it all lines back up perfect. We don't even have to sit there and try to make the fender mounts.
Yep, and it's looking real good.
While Tim and John are making good progress on the 2020 Denali's front end, I'm going to get started making articulating speaker brackets for the bed. You know, just having a drop dually, big wheels all the way on the ground just isn't enough. You just got to have that little bit more. So we're going to make a speaker bracket that mounts 4 speakers in the bed and articulates up. So when he's parked, he can actually raise it up and the sound projects over the bed and out to everywhere. I took a couple of quick measurements off the bed with the bed cover, with the wheel wells, and made a quick drawing on the table so I know exactly what kind of room we have to work with, and we'll come up with some kind of mount that's going to be cool. Just a lot of figuring out to do. You know, there's a lot of pivot points, a lot of measuring. We'll see what happens. We need to make one a little shorter to maybe kick it up a little bit or kick it down a little bit. You can play with all those little angles, all those little pivot points to make the speaker do whatever you want to with it. So once we make them act right, we can duplicate that in bars and pipe and bushings.
Man, that's something to start out, but having some articulation like this where it actually moves and it's got function to it, man, that's that next step.
I'm using the measurements from the rods and bolts to make the final articulating arms for the speakers. We'll have something like that. I want these things quick, so Max and Jesse are going to weld these things out, all while me and Jamie are going to make the frame to hold all these mounts to the bed. You know, it's one thing to lay it out on the table and make little bitty mounts and get it in your head, okay, it's going to work, but when you actually convert that over to the bracketry and drill holes and spend time making all the pivot points right, the little bars right, you put it all together, you know, there is some question there if it's really going to work. So right now we're going to put it together and actually see if it's going to do what we need to do.
Man, you just have that in your head, just popped it out?
I mean, figure it out until it works, see what works. Speaker about here, you know, facing out, then coming out over the bed. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like really cool.
We finished fabricing to make room for it in the bed.
All right, now we're to the point we need to put this bed on the new frame. But as you can see, the notch of the frame and the gooseneck hitch is gonna stick through the bed. So what I'm gonna do right now is just cut a hole out in this bed floor so I can get it on there, and then we'll go back and figure out how we're gonna fill this back in. When this truck's laid out all the way on the ground, you'll be able to walk up, look in the bed, and the gooseneck hitch and the bag mounts are gonna show through the bed floor. And you get to appreciate all the work that went into this frame, which for me is a nice change. A lot of times we'll do all this, and it simply gets covered up.
All right, now we have a hole. I'm about to cut $10,000 off this truck. We gotta remove all this, because once that truck lays down on the floor, we need room for that big tire to reach all the way up here. Now we get all this out the way, now we got plenty of room for these big wheels and tires.
Which means it's got 4 wheels in the back. So that means we need to make even larger wheel tubs in the bed to fit those 28-inch tires.
This is how we roll our sheet metal to get the same radius as our wheel tub. And we need a little bit more. Whew. So the tub has to be extra wide to accommodate both dually wheels on the back of this truck. So what we're going to do is butt weld the new piece to the old piece, and what that is fitting them tightly together on edge and welding right along the crease. Just to let you know, welding around magnets sucks. These magnets hold the piece of the metal together while I weld, which is good, but because the welder uses a metal wire, that same magnet disrupts the arc connection. So it can be a little tricky. Welding is nearly impossible.
John officiated the marriage of these two pieces of metal. Relationships have ups and downs and bumps. So me, I'm a marriage counselor. I'm gonna smooth this out.
You on fire today?
Things got a little smoky around here.
What's up, Doug?
Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man.
In the custom car business, it's always good to get those repeat customers. We worked on Doug's 48 GMC truck years ago. Good to see you, man. What are we doing with this thing?
Well, we're not doing anything to the truck. We're going to focus on the most important thing. That's my granddaughter's Polaris.
That?
This.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I know it don't look like a Polaris today, but it used to. Her house was hit by a tornado on Easter Sunday, an EF4 tornado in South Mississippi. They lost everything. Destroyed the house, destroyed everything, lost all of her toys, clothes, and she lost her Polaris. And this was the most important thing that she was looking for after the tornado. So we've got to get it fixed. The tornado hit my daughter's house with our 3 grandchildren, and it scared me and my wife to death. We were here in Houston. She called us right before it happened, and then it was 15, 20 minutes before she called us back and told us they were okay. Very scary moment. When everything was done, and this was the first thing she went to looking for, and it was 250 yards away, and you can tell it made a barrel roll once. So that's why this Polaris is so important.
You know, we customized a lot of vehicles in all different stages of the customization, but never one that's been through a tornado. I don't know if there's really much hope for this thing, but we're definitely going to see what we can do. I think the first thing we need to do is actually get this thing down and really see what we got to do. You know, get that frame back straight. I know there's probably going to be some frame issues, and put new plastics on it, make sure that all bolts back together right. And I think instead of just bolting the factory cage back on, just build something cool for her. Make it so she's, you know, not only looking cool, but safe also.
Absolutely. She loves this thing, and whatever you do is going to make it that much better, Bill.
Yeah, this thing's going to be cool. You know, this isn't a normal project we do around here. You know, but being so close to the Gulf, we know all about what those storms can do. Anything we can do to help you, man, and help your granddaughter, you know we're in.
Man, I appreciate you, Bill. That's why I come to see you.
You know, a job like this is what I would normally turn away. But, you know, when an old friend brings it in and it has such a heartwarming story, you don't have any choice but to help out. Looking at this after it's been in a storm the way it has, and just seeing the steel being mangled and rolled over, but it just shows you how much power the wind has. Then I'm just happy no one was hurt in that. I'm going to pull this into the shop, and everybody's going to go, what are you doing? What's this here for? But once they hear the story and they hear who it's for, I know they're going to be all in. time we get a small project, right?
The heck happened to this thing? It looks like somebody jumped it.
Man, this thing was in a tornado. The wind did this. Chunked this thing quarter mile. You know, it's Doug's granddaughter. She just cherished this thing. This was her favorite thing to have, right? And they lost their house. They lost everything. So we need to bring this thing back to life. What I want to do is get it in the shop so we got a nice level surface. Let's take off all the plastics and, you know, skirting on this thing to see what's bent and what's straight.
Yeah, I'm sure once you get all this off, all kind of stuff's going to be...
Yeah, I'm definitely afraid of that, but it ain't something we can't handle for sure. Now, once we get everything back straight, I want to go back with new plastics, bumpers, front and rear, and we'll probably wrap the new plastics too to not have the
everybody else look.
Exactly. If we're going to do it, we might as well make it special for it. We'll put doors on this thing, to get rid of that. It's not as safe as doors on this thing. We'll top it off with some lighting, and she had speakers underneath here, but we'll add some cool ones to it. Once we get all the bottom of this thing all nice and straight, we'll go back with a custom cage, just a one-off, and we'll make the roof a little longer, stronger, meaner, and a lot cooler looking.
It's really cool to do this back for her and make it all back to something she really enjoyed. It's going to be better than Christmas for her.
Be nice to be a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Doug's definitely going to be Grandpa of the Year.
I might adopt him as my grandpa.
Keegan and Joey are going to tear this down so I can see what shape the chassis is in.
Keith, you ever had one of these in here, kid?
Not something like this big, but maybe a little small, like a little tiny 4x4.
Little small one?
Yeah, ride around every once in a while.
Good?
Yeah.
Good over there?
Ready to go up.
Tweak to the rear of the frame on the little side-by-side, so what I'm going to use is the porta-power here. It's basically a slender jack, so you put the little pieces together till it fits into place, put it in between the frame and the bent part of the frame, jack it up perfectly straight when I'm done. Double check the level real quick on that.
It's riding the line a little bit, but it's still in between the lines.
We want it on the money.
Well, it's off. It needs to come up on this one.
This one? Up?
Yes. Come on up, right there.
Being thrown through the air like it was, this frame is in better shape than I thought it was going to be. Check it right here. But even small bends to it can have huge consequences.
It's kind of wobbly on that thing.
So our first step, we need to straighten it up.
Go up on it?
Yeah. Go up, Mo. Up. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on just a second. Let's get a long piece of tubing and stick right here. We went just a little too far, so we can give it a little tweak.
Okay.
So we're jacking it up, push a little bit. So you got to push it up just past level, so when the tension releases, it comes back level, right? Well, we went just a little bit too far, so we're just going to take a big bar, twist that sucker again, and make it perfect. Man, do that one more time. I think you got it. Perfect. Size-wise, this 20, but because the tornado literally threw it a quarter of a mile, it's got some big issues. Jamie fixed the axles, we straightened the frame, so now we can put on new plastics and doors.
All right, Jamie, I think we're ready for the door, man.
Well, let's see what happens.
Try to get the other door on.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Hey, Bill.
Huh?
Everything's in. Man, this is how much further than it's supposed to be.
To the center of that hole.
That one ain't in the same shape.
That's 32 and an 8. Yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's got a belly.
Typical job, you thought was cut and dry. Okay, this is bent. Let's fix it. Done. Everything should line up, right? Well, that's not the way it works. Start putting the doors on it. Notice, whoa, this doors overlaps the body by an inch. So trying to just bend it back an inch is going to be pretty difficult.
Where do we even start to pull it?
Let's get this thing off of here, get it loaded up on the back of the wrecker. Okay. We'll strap it down and see if we can pull it with the winch.
Cool.
Tilt forward. We got the front and the back of the frame are still tweaked. So we're going to use the wrecker and the winch to stretch the body, all while keeping the integrity of the frame. It's the only tool I can think of. We can pull at multiple points at one time and still hold everything from the back and strap it down to the wrecker. So we'll see what happens. Here, come do this real quick. Let me look at it. Okay. Ready? I'll tell you when to stop. Just as easy as you possibly can. All right. Okay, do it again. All right. Cut it off. All right. You know, the wrecker and the winch definitely done its job. Door's got plenty of room now. We definitely tweaked it, moved it forward. You know, the next thing is getting everything back nice and level so it all lines up. And everything will be on the money. Over on the other side of the shop, Tim and John are finishing up the extra large wheel tubs on that 2020 Denali.
Now we got a completed extended rear tub. Now I can get this placed in the bed, clamped with a straight edge across the top, and get it tacked in place. That fits nicely. I like it. Place. Now we can weld these things fully and get ready to move on to capping these edges and putting the bed back on the truck.
We have the tubs made here. Now we need to make the filler go down to here. Something to keep the dirt out of there, the mud, the water coming out all the way. This will really just enclose the wheels and just add strength and structure to the tub. So we're going to tack it. When we come back and grind it, it'll all look like one piece, like it wasn't made out of three pieces. This whole tub will look like a one piece you just set in here.
Because the Denali needs to look like a show truck and perform like a work truck, we need to build a massive set of control arms to keep all that weight going straight down the road.
Building control arms for a bigger truck, you want to have a stronger arm than your typical square body or regular half-ton pickup truck. That's why we use thicker material, bigger, better ball joints to be able to accommodate not only the weight of the vehicle, but the weight that's actually attached to the back of it as well.
Let's go ahead and throw the wheel on. Just to make sure when it pushes out, we're not hitting here. We clear everything. See what it looks like laid out too.
Yeah. The top of this bar is going to rip. That represents our suspension being bottomed out completely, which in turn means the truck laid out all the way on the floor.
Man, you think it looks good in there? You got to see it from out here. It ate up half that wheel, put it all the way in there. It looks good. It looks real good.
Does it look as good as me?
We sent the chassis off to powder coat. Now we can get to reconnecting, which is probably miles of wire, back into a space that's way more limited.
So when we first got started with this truck, I was hooking all of this, that was easy. Very easy. But going back and putting it all in, laying all the harnesses out, that's really, really not fun. Oh, you didn't just bring more wiring over here. I was starting to feel good until I seen you walk over with that. Was that heavy?
A little bit. Now I know why this is a 1-ton.
Needed a 1-ton just to hold up all the harness.
Yeah. You got this, buddy.
We'll have to get that box to fit through there.
We gotta get all these wires, all these sensors, everything plugged back. Almost everything works on a loop, where if this isn't connected, half the truck on that side won't work. If something's not connected, a little sensor in the back, this might not work, that might not work. So everything has to be plugged in. This is factory, so the computer doesn't throw any codes or act like there's a problem anywhere.
Custom frame for the 2020 Denali is back from powder coat. The white is going to match perfect with the body.
You know, the powder makes a really, really nice coating on it, and it gets in every crack and crevice. From the raw steel, raw tubing, raw pipe, to this, it's come a long ways. It looks totally different once you get some color on it.
Definitely looks real good.
The fact that it's color matched to the truck
It didn't look like he just took some frame and put anything. You know that frame goes to that truck on those wheels. Now everything unloaded, everything's situated on the table. We can start assembling the frame, put the motor and transmission on it, roll it underneath the body, and put the body down. It's gonna look good. The big billet wheels on it, going down the road.
Tornado damage on the 2019 Polaris. Now Jamie and I are going to build a custom cage from scratch. You know, the tornado definitely threw this thing for many loops, but you know, we got this thing back where it needs to be. The next step is building the cage. So once the cage is built, tied into the framework of the little side-by-side, everything is going to be super strong and not bend or give. It's going to hold everything perfectly level and straight. So what I'm going to do first is just start bending some pipe up, get the angles right, and kind of step back and look at it, see what feels right, and just keep building upon that. Send it over here. Jump to the forward, please. What I want to do is build a sporty custom cage. We obviously have to replace what's missing. So if we're going to do that, I want to make something, you know, a little bit lower profile, stretch it a little bit, instead of just buying a new one online. You know, that's what we do. We build custom things. So not only, you know, put some safety back in it, some rigidity back in it, but put some custom coolness back in it too. I like the way how everything flows, man. It looks good, and it's super strong too. She's gonna be happy.
Definitely looks real good together.
My kids are gonna be so jealous.
Oh, we gotta build another one.
Man, it's come a long way since this little side-by-side was tossed by the tornado. Jamie's making a custom aluminum roof.
That fits nice. We're happy with that.
And we had a custom wrap made for it. We're adding in a brand new stereo system and some light bars. I can't wait for Doug's granddaughter to see this thing now. So I'm really excited. You know, we finally got this project done. Today's the day we're going to give it back to some special little girl. You know, typically I would usually turn a project away like this, but, you know, considering it's for Doug and what it means to Doug and his family, you know, I can't not help out on this.
What's going on, Bill? Man, good to see you.
How you doing, man?
This is my granddaughter, McKinley.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I heard a lot about you. Grandpa's pretty proud of you.
That's right.
Your grandpa was telling me you were in a little scary little incident a while back. Tell me what happened.
There was a tornado.
You were in the tornado? Was that scary?
Yeah.
Man, I bet it was. Not only your house was totally gone, there was something you really loved was gone too, right? What was that?
My buggy.
The wind took it way far away?
Down to our pond.
In the pond? It was messed up bad, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Her buggy was only 6 months old, so I knew I had to bring it here to get it fixed. It meant a lot to her. Now it's time to see what Bill and the boys have done.
I tell you what, we got you fixed up. Grandpa got you fixed up. You ready to check it out?
Yeah.
I bet you are. I bet you ready to ride.
You ready to ride?
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
Let's see it. Holy cow, look at that, McKinley. Man, that is awesome, Bill. Look at that. What do you think?
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
Golly. Wow. Bill, that don't even look like the same buggy.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Man.
Last time you seen it was a little squished, huh?
Yeah. When the buggy came out, I was so excited to see it. Let's just say I was speechless.
Man, that thing looks great, Bill. Tell me what all y'all did.
Well, you seen the parts we had to work with, right?
Yeah, I did.
Once we put it on the lift, we started dismantling it. We really noticed the frame was hurt a lot more than originally thought.
Yeah.
You know, the plastics and everything were hiding a lot of damage underneath there. It had to replace the rear axle, replaced all the plastics. So we put new bumpers on it. And of course, it didn't have...
What's that on the door?
A tornado.
A tornado?
Had Pixelworks come over and they custom wrapped it. They designed this wrap for you.
For you. You know how we know it's just for you? It's got Doodle on the door.
Hey, where'd you get the name Doodle?
Popsy gave it to me.
Popsy gave it to you? That's awesome.
Man, it looks great, Bill. It really does.
build a whole new cage. We made all that in-house. Instead of buying, just a replacement, we made it a little bit shorter and a little bit more laid back. Give it a little more cool look, sleek look. Made a new roof for it, made it a little bit longer. We made it all out of aluminum. Went back with lighting, had to put the stereo back in it. And we put some little antennas on the back with lights in them.
That's all. What do you say?
Thanks,
You're very welcome. Doug, I know this is special for you, and it's special for us.
Man, that's nice, isn't it?
Thank you for letting us be a part of this very special project. Over on the other side of the shop, the guys are making good progress on the rolling chassis. And now it's the moment of truth.
4 links to the axle, hook the airbags up, and then we'll be able to run all the brake lines, the brake calipers, put the front wheels on, we can air it up and roll it out. But we have to put all the wiring on there, all the modules, the DEF, all that's going back on. So the whole thing will be hooked back up like it was factory. Now it's just the tedious part of just putting it all back together.
This 2020 Denali wants this low and loud. We got the low taken care of. Now to make it loud by finishing up the articulating speakers. I got the hard part done. I got the lifting part that's going to lift the speakers over the bed. The next step to all this is making it motorized. So I'm going to put an actuator on the back to lift this up. But I'm going to try to do it with just one actuator and trying to make it lift evenly. That's another little trick too. So once that's all set up, put 12 volts to it, it should lift these speakers right up over the bed. It's pretty dang close. The whole object of this whole bracketry is pushing a button and having the speakers come out of the bed. Just whole overall project, right? What I'm going to do is cut out a piece of 2x2 square tubing to make a bracket for the lower part of the actuator and fix it to the whole bracket, push a button, and it lifts up. We got all our little pieces cut. We got everything mocked up. The next step is putting some power to it and see if this actually works. Everything we build, you have a general idea. Once you have the idea, then you start building plans. The main thing is just having the creativity of having the idea. That's a huge hurdle. Once you have that, it's just using your skills, using your tools, and just making it happen. Pretty cool.
Everything back from powder coat. We've got all the front suspension on, the rear suspension's on, brake lines are ran, fuel lines are ran. We're at the exciting point now. We can finally marry this cab to this chassis. It's like you do everything, and here's the keys to the new house. Now you can move in.
Is that in?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Just trying to line up here to line up this bolt with this hole, and it'll go straight down. It makes it much easier. Plus, the motor's so tight, the transmission's so tight that you don't have a lot of room side to side. All right, ready? Yeah. So we put it down. It's a little bit too far off. We'll hit the body. We could hit a module. Could hit something else. So we're taking a little bit of time. Line this up. Drop the whole thing down, and everything should clear. How's the radiator look?
We're getting close.
Watch your fingers. We married the cab to the chassis. We're about to do the bed to the chassis. All right, we gotta watch this bar when we set this down. We can't scratch it.
Down, 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 down.
Go forward, down. All right. Thank you.
Good job, guys.
And now you can see the bed on the truck. You can see all the notch coming through that's gonna hold the gooseneck. All that white shining through the black bed liner just stands out and pops really nice.
Now we got about 40% of the wiring done. This thing got so much electrical going on. It's about a full day of work just messing with wiring. This is the main fuse box to the whole vehicle. If this ain't hooked up correctly, it needs to be sent. I should only go on one way. See that little green thing pop up? That means it's connected and tight. The plug from the bottom is seated properly to the pins at the bottom of this fuse panel.
Man, we're at the final stages of getting this truck off the lift and on the ground. Seems like we've been doing wiring for 4 days now.
I'm so sick of seeing wires. Most of them are plugged in. Only a few left that are really giving me a hard time. There is just a ton of wiring and connectors that gotta get crammed in the areas and tied down. Oh man, so much stuff.
On big builds like this, it's super satisfying to see it all come together at the end. 28-inch wheels, speakers attached to articulating arms in the bed. We're ready to show this to the world.
I don't know about you guys, but I've been here 7 years now.
I've been here 7 years also.
Oh yeah, sure have, huh?
This year it'll be 12 years.
That's 12 too many.
You know, it's like anything, when you start here, you know, Bill has his own way of doing it, and then you start seeing a new helper show up. He starts doing it some other way, and you're like, maybe the way Bill's going to want it.
Yeah, so you got to pass it on. Everything will roll along a lot smoother doing it the way we've done it.
It's definitely easier, you know, that we work together so much that we already know how this other person works. You know, I know what you're going to do, I know how you're going to do it, and I can pick up right where y'all left off.
We just practically became mind readers. We know what each other's we know what each other's doing and how to continue.
Pretty sure I spend more time here than home.
Pretty much.
I can guarantee you I've opened that gate and shut that gate more than Bill himself.
You're right about that.
For the 2020 Denali is finally here, and JD drove all the way down from Kansas City to see what we've been up to.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Bill? Good to see you again.
Dang, good to see you, man. It's a great day, huh?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Great day to pick up a dually.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I heard you got a little car collection yourself.
Yeah, I do. I got quite a few lifted trucks, a few hot rods.
But never anything lower.
Yeah, nothing slammed.
You know, what finally clicked and said, I gotta have a lower dually?
I heard it was the world's first. I had to do it. Nothing better than a lower dually. The reason why I wanted a lower truck this time is just pulling up to shows, being able to slam it down to the ground, watch people's, response. Just something different than the lifted truck scene that's been going on the last few years.
I love lifted trucks, but, close to my heart is lower trucks, and especially lower dualies.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
You ready to check it out?
I am.
All right, come on, Timmy. Let's check it out.
Oh, no way. No way. Oh. Yeah, you guys knocked this out of the park. Yes. Yes. Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes. Hey, I wanted it low. You got it low for me. Yeah, that looks good. The white frame, color matched everything, sitting on the ground. This is beyond my expectations. I can't believe it.
What you think?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you guys did an amazing job. It's awesome.
Thank you, man. I mean, Timmy, John, they got down on this, as always. Well, how we had to start is picked it up on the lift and just started unbolting and unbolting and unbolting. Once that was all done, rolled it out and just got busy. Built the suspension, the air suspension on it, to building super strong control arms to a big, heavy-duty 4-link for the rear. I mean, this is one of the biggest, strongest frames we've ever built here. I mean, it is overkill.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what you want. That peace of mind when you're going down the road, you want to know that everything is 100% strong and built the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you guys did it. So it's absolutely amazing what these guys can do. Can take a brand new 2020 truck, take the old frame out and build a frame from scratch. I mean, I'm just absolutely blown away.
JD, what do you think about those wheels?
Yeah, I love them.
A 28-inch dually wheel on something that low, it just makes a huge, huge statement.
Yeah, the polish looks great on them.
engraved the Richland Motorsports in it. Perfect fit, too.
To finish it all off, you see everything's been color matched. Got rid of all the black plastic. We smoothed all that out, painted it body color. And, it just makes this truck look classy.
Yeah, it does. It's not too much chrome, not too much white. It just all flows together.
Let's check out under the hood.
Yeah, let's check it out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks good. I can't believe that you guys took all this out and got it back in. Right. And still made it look factory. Yeah, that's amazing.
Man, it was hard enough getting the motor up to the cowl, much less.
Yeah, I got the tubs in here, color match everything. I mean, it looks great.
I appreciate that. You think this is cool. I really got something to show you in the back.
Yeah, let's check it out. I'm excited to see it. Oh, yeah. God, that is crazy. You can see everything.
Right?
Got the gooseneck in here. That is amazing.
That isn't just something that just bolts into the bed. That is all made directly to the frame. It's artwork made into the framework itself.
Yeah, this should be able to pull anything that I need to pull.
Absolutely. Those huge airbags on there, just pick this big truck right off the ground with whatever weight you got on it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
You wanted some speakers in the back.
Yeah, I see that you guys added some speakers in here.
Show me the other part?
Yeah, Timmy hit it. Down here in the bed's cool. It's going to make, a lot of noise, but check this out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
There's just one more thing. People are just going to go, what?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Not only, the look of the truck is going to draw people, when they hear this sound, it's just going to project for a mile away.
Yeah, that's awesome how it's got the actuator to bring it right up. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. This is a dream come true right here. Hey, you know what? Maybe next SEMA, I can find something a little bit harder for you guys.
JD, you threw us a tall order, but as you can see,